make sure the music's not. All right, we're live on there. And while that sits for a second, I can also put us live here on Discord. All right, all right, all right. Okay, cool. Okay. All right. I am just about ready to start. If you're feeling ready to start, I'm just about ready to start. I just want to make sure this chat is working. I don't know why my widget's not capturing. capture command widget. All right. Can you do me some favor? Go into the YouTube stream and then type something so I can test to see if this works. I'll give you the link if you don't already have it. Okay. Listen. Try making sure it's connected to YouTube. Nope, it is connected to YouTube. The default emojis, the like, this is what you can click on. This is what, like the goat. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to like be the goat. Okay, now try typing something there. Let me see if that. Oh, something. Okay, something showed up. Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. It's just. Oh, you know what? I think it's just really small. Okay. It is just. I see. It did come up. It just really small on my screen. All right, I see. How do I make this then not so small? It is there. I see it now. It's just really small. Interesting. If I go now, type something. I just want to see. That trophy didn't show up for some reason. No. I don't. Huh. If I say something. Nope. Okay, well, it's all there. I just don't know why it's so small. So I will. Oh. Maybe I can figure. Oh. All right, we'll go with this for now. We'll see, and then I'll tinker it while we're going through replays. Cool. All right, ready, set. Let's do this. All right. Let's pull on. Test. Oh, I just realized maybe everyone could hear me this entire time. Well. Rip. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Ready, set. Ooh, all right, we're here. Wow. Long time no see, peoples of the interwebs, people of the ESChamp nation. Here you are. We're here for our first SE2 stream night. I'm here with my co-host, friend, and partner in crime, Nanman. My dude, how are you?
Doing wonderful. I'm excited. We get to hang out, talk about StarCraft. I mean, what better on a Thursday night?
Absolutely. And so, for those who don't know what this is or why we're doing it, here's the kind of like the rundown: is that for the most part, yeah, I would say we go over a lot of replays for videos and for whatnot. I thought it'd be really fun to kind of do like a community like breakdown replays together. I think replays can be tough sometimes to go on your own, and part of that would be, there's not only there are a ton of replays out there,
right,
but let's maybe work together and find some interesting parts about replays to discuss and to see what's
I think it's also one of those things too. If you're a player looking to improve, I don't think enough players utilize replays either of their own games. So it's like a lot of people will go, "Oh, I want to watch the tournament or I want to study a build or stuff like that." They'll go through it. So, the more you get into the replays, the more likely you're going to build those better habits to, improve your play.
I think you actually you said it correctly. It's just that I think even for myself, I don't know if I even went through a lot of replays even coming up. And since we started doing a lot of videos, I realized, man, you can learn a lot from replays. I knew this instinctively. I want to paint, like, I want to kind of.
It's been in the back of your mind this whole time that you've played and learned about StarCraft. But yeah, it's one thing when you're actually in the replay and you go, wow, this has so much information in here.
And so basically, I thought we could just kind of all as a community break down together just what we're seeing and talk through. And so if you're part of the ESChamp community, you can actually join us here on Discord and jump in. And sort of the format we're going to go with is that everybody can, if you're here on Discord, you can jump in and talk. If you're not on Discord, you can actually go in the chat and we'll work together these replay stuff together. If you're not in the chat and you watch this later, hopefully this is useful to you to check out. And I think it'll be pretty useful later on. So we got 2 pro games to go through and then 1 game from the community. So I went and picked out a game of someone who said they had something wrong and they wanted people to check out. And I think that's kind of the format we're going to go with. I'm going to play around with this format. I'm looking to do this once a month, maybe closer to the end of the month, so that if you have replays and you want us to take a look at it and you're in the ESChamp community, you can submit it there. Or if you're, if we don't have any from the ESChamp community and you want to, you're just like a casual viewer and you're not part of the Patreon or whatever, and you want me to see a replay, we'll find a way for you to get to us there. You could actually probably maybe put it in the comments. Like if you go to SC2 replay drop and you just throw it in there, and you're watching this later, if we, obviously I'm going to put the patrons at a higher priority, but if you're not and we don't have anybody, we'll go through yours. And then yeah, well, let's kind of break down replays and see what we see. The first replay here, we're gonna jump in, me and you and man together. Are we in a party? If not, we should become in a party.
Not yet.
Okay, well, I'll invite you to the party. So we're actually
I accept this offer.
You accept my party offer, and hopefully those of you watching it, if you can join in, feel free. This is a collaborative effort.
Right.
I think what I will end up doing too, and this might be kind of cool, is we'll just kind of make notes. I'm actually gonna pull up a magical notepad, and
Perfect.
I think I'm gonna like make notes. This actually idea came up to me like legitimately right now, and so you will have to forgive me because I'm gonna kind of.
Well, this is our first community night that we're doing, so we're picking things that we like that we gonna use in the future. So like taking notes during it. So get ready, get your notepads out if you're watching, guys.
Yeah, get your notepads out, and I think that I'd be kind of cool if we kind of take like joint notes and then post the notes for you to read later. That might be kind of cool. So let me see if you all kind of bear with me while I grab this notepad and capture it into like Discord. I mean, grab in OBS so you can actually see these notes. This actually could be quite fun if I figure this out. The magical notepad will now be joining us. What could I do to capture a notepad? Notepad. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm gonna capture this notepad and we're gonna find out if this notepad is real. Oh shit, is real. Okay, it's gonna come up. You guys gonna see our notepad shortly. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. We'll kind of. All right, bam, notepad. Okay, all right. Man, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the notepad. We'll see.
Oh, that's fine. I can convey information to you, and you can make sure.
Yeah, it gets captured on the notepad. Let's find out if this notepad is visible. Test. Oh, I know why I have a lot of this notepad cut off. Maybe. Oh, there it is. Found it. All right. We're doing it live, people. We're doing it live. Notepad is getting added, and it's text. Can you actually increase the size of text in Notepad? Is like that a thing?
Maybe you would assume that, but maybe not. Maybe it was just like this is what you get.
Okay,
maybe. Can you type something and then like right click on it and it brings up any options?
I would actually like to make the text in Notepad. Hey, Funky Monk, welcome to the stream. I actually do not know if you can make anything bigger in Notepad, and I will we'll have to see if we can make this Notepad a little bit bigger. I really would like to maybe supersize the text. Supersize the text in Notepad. If not, we'll kind of go with it. And next time we do this, I will find a way to make Notepad not only bigger, but more legible for everybody to see. You'd think that you could make Notepad
right. Who knows?
Oh. Maybe I might have figured it out. Oh shit, I think I figured it out. Give me a sec. All right, thank you. If you're here now and you're bearing with all my technical difficulties, thank you. And I'm gonna get this magical notepad hopefully doing what it needs to do and look all glory. Oh, it sucks. Yeah, okay. It's starting to look good. You guys gonna see it shortly. My glorious notepad. I just want to make sure it's not like taking up the whole screen though.
Right, just enough that conveys the information, but we can't block the actual stream. We got to be able to see all the important details. No, it's interesting. We are playing on we're going to be watching these replays on the EU server. And I jumped on and was, of course, spammed by all of the achievements because I'm not used to being on the EU server. And I went back and I looked to see when was the last time I was on. And it was like pretty much 9 years ago when I was spectating Night End. So if anybody remembers the Protoss player Night End from back in the day. Used to be a Warcraft 3 player. There's an old school name for any old school StarCraft watchers out there.
Wait, who was it? Night End?
Night End, yeah. European Protoss player.
What year is this? Like, what year are we talking?
I mean, what is what year are we in now? 2023. So -9. I don't know. I'm bad with math today. I'm a little brain fried. It's Thursday, right? Get me like Monday to do math, Tuesday maybe, but by Thursday I'm like,
wait a minute. Aren't you a teacher?
I am, but see, that's why it's like I use all that knowledge all day long, and then it comes to nighttime, and I'm like, nope, I'm done doing math for the day.
I'm teasing. You're not a math teacher. Wait, are you a math teacher?
I'm an everything teacher.
You teach everything.
I everything. Every subject is where I'm at.
Every subject. All right.
Math, reading, writing,
all right,
science, history, it all.
All right. So what I got on the board right now is our magical notepad. Hopefully this notepad is visible to you. Hopefully it's not taking up a lot of space. Actually, it looks like it's taking up a lot of space, but kind of like we'll keep playing around with it and hopefully come up with like a good medium when we get started. All right. So the first game I thought we'd go over is Oliveira versus Maru Game 5. I have, just to give people context, we're working on a video that's coming out very soon on this. And, on all of Oliveira versus Maru. Mm-hmm. And I have watched this replay a ton. But there's some tidbits I think people miss when they watch the replay or even if they watch the game. And I think thought it'd be a lot of fun to kind of go through that. So that's what we're going to do. All right, you in it? Are we in this together? Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's dive in. I accept.
Funky Monk, hello. Thank you for coming on the stream and watching this with us. Oh, there's like a little exclamation mark. Let me use this.
Command will not be available. Oh, yeah. It says, sorry, you cannot play as these players.
You should try to play as Maru. We should totally take over. You should take over Maru, and I'll take over Lyria, and we should see if we can
see what happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually make sure I have the right observer replay on because I guess this is EU, so I actually don't know if I guess your whatever your last settings stay on. All right, let's do this. All right, follow along, people. Jump in. Let us know. We can work on this together. So actually, you've obviously seen this replay. Anything that let's talk about even the beginning. What was your feelings of the game itself?
So I watched it live, and I watched it, so many times after the fact when we were working on our video, and I just remember the excitement. I think was the biggest thing of because it was such a like shift leading up to this point for these players. Like, okay, it's looking like Maru is gonna stomp Oliveira, and then Oliveira just like turns it on its head and just like shows just how dominant he is as a player. So like I just remember that excitement and that hype going into this match.
This is actually the longest match. This is the longest game in the series too. So
yes.
And so also we can also remember part of this too is we can stop, we can pause, we can do all these things. We can even fast forward. But while it's going, we're gonna keep the pace because I'm going to take this opportunity to also actually make sure the game sound is captured. The game sound is captured. Because that needs to be done. So why don't you give us a little bit of regale while I get this game sound?
Yeah. I mean, it's like up to this point, because this is the, I guess, final game in the series. You already talked about how it's like the longest one between these two. And every game leading up to it has been, very fast paced, very aggressive from both players. So going into it, you expect something similar. Maru is already the first one to like switch it up by getting that double gas. So it's like, all right, every player going into it's going to have a plan. Just how they execute that plan is going to be slightly different based on their experiences and their play styles and stuff. And that scouting information kind of helps to dictate this. So like Maru getting in, getting the scout off, Oliveira getting in, getting the scout off, and like all the information is getting conveyed. Now, interesting to note that Oliveira just kind of checks the natural there, okay, no expansion, sees that they're the barracks, but doesn't even go into the main base. So doesn't get that confirmation on the double gas, but knows that there's no expansion, at least on the low ground. Doesn't have to bother to see that there's no expansion like right next to the barracks. So he goes, okay, you're teching up. I don't even have to get that confirmation. I put in enough hours that I can just read that immediately from that like little glimpse of information at the natural.
I think one of the things I liked most about this too is that Oliviera. Actually, we'll even pause it for a second too, because we're about to get to the Reapers. Like Oliviera dials into Maru a lot into these games. Like he is starting to read him. He knows his tricks. He knows what to expect. And Maru's been doing the same strategy for the last 3 games, right? For the last 3 games, I think that was it 1-1-1?
Yes.
Yes. 1-1 into this one is, I believe, if I remember correctly, if I check my notes, this one was a little different because where are my notes? Sad face. All right, well, we'll see it then shortly, because I believe, if I remember correctly, there was a variation, at least on Oliviera's side.
Right. And so like we've been seeing slight variations, right? He's doing these 1-by-1s. It's like, okay, immediately go with like tank pushes. Are you going with like widow? He tried the widow mines, not as effective. So it's like he's been falling back. Morrow has on that like tank style of play and teching up into that. But it's like, you know, we're not even really at that stage yet because we're in that Reaper stuff that you were talking about. We're going to get into Hellions and we're in that kind of early harassment macro or micro as we start to build up into that macro stage. It's going to be very fast paced in these early stages for both players.
Oh, well, so from your thoughts, like Maru is super aggressive. He's always super aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He's been super aggressive in these games. And then Oliviera kind of goes defensive, do you think? Like how?
Yeah, definitely. Even like you look at his natural and there's already a bunker finishing. Like something that Mara's like, I don't need a bunker. I know that I'm going to be the one to attack. You're going to be the one to defend. And they both kind of have this like unspoken agreement that goes, yeah, that's fine. I'll defend. You attack me, and that's cool. And Mara's like, I know you're not going to attack. You're just going to sit back. And so I'm going to put some pressure on you. Like I don't really understand. It's like Morrow has done so well with that aggression that it's just like every player knows that they have to be prepared against it. And it's like if Olivier didn't commit these little things, like I'll put a little bit of extra resources into a little bunker here and it will help secure me that next stage there. Like if he didn't and he just like did the same sort of plan, like if they mirrored builds, it would be a very different game, I feel like.
But we saw a couple of games where they did mirror each other's builds. There was some mirroring of builds going back and forth, just to start, and then Olivier did a little bit of variations. One of the things we're gonna see too is that Maru is actually he's the first to move out on this map. Like Olivier, I think a couple times he was the first, but I don't remember specifically if he was the first to move out in like maybe other the games. Oh,
I think it's even all the other games were more of that like almost ping pong or tennis match, that back and forth. Okay, I'll volley to you, now you volley back, and then it was like, but Mara was always the one initiating that first volley.
yeah.
Like he was the server in all of these instances. But like the thing here too is like, you know, Maru's already got the tank. He's already got the Marines. Like he's set up to go, okay, I'm going for my drop. I poked up. I saw a bunker. I poked up and saw that you had units defended at your kind of like jump up point where you normally would have to defend. So he's like checking all the normal areas. And Olivier is giving like no space to get any more information, no scouting there.
I want to say one thing I wanted to bring up is that this is almost to the T. This is where we saw like he's obviously going to do like an elevator drop. Like he initially was like, I'm going to do an elevator drop, which worked game 1.
Yes, it worked. Like that was how he won the first game and just jumped in there and immediately just kind of did this little out micro maneuver. So he's like, well, I know that this worked. If I can just get it just right, the timing just right to line up, then I should be able to get him.
Let's see how this. One thing I wanted to.
I mean, this is actually the interesting thing to note too is Olivier is getting a Viking early, which is that kind of adapt to how Morrow's played. He knows there's those elevator stuff that's been used, and the last time Olivier had a Raven in this position, not a Viking. So
Yes, I was just about to bring it up because like we're seeing the variation here is that the you know he's gone for the Raven in the past, and like I think one thing to do is like TVT Ravens are super versatile, and in some of the games we've actually seen that Olivier like really favors using the oh my god
the Ravens and the auto turrets to
the
kind
auto
of help
turrets,
with that like
yeah.
extra damage and stuff.
Yeah, auto turrets. He loves the auto turrets over
point defense
yeah.
drones, or not point. Wow, I'm going way old school. But like the
no point defense
anti-armor missiles,
anti-armor missiles over disable. Right? Actually, I'm gonna. This is actually. I would say this is
locking down and all this. He's like, let's go auto turrets, more DPS.
I'm gonna use this like notepad for the first time. Mario 111 opens out with 111, opens 111. Mario opens. I'm gonna get used to notepads. You're gonna have to all forgive me because I've said 111, and then even here, Oliviera, he actually, how did we get to this point? One thing I was curious, how did
Oliviera went for faster expansion, slower tech. So he committed more resources into his expansion a little bit faster. And just kind of went defensive, right? He committed resources into expansion faster. He committed resources into a bunker. Like he's kind of gone
both on the low ground, right? We both both low ground.
Yes. I mean, we talked about it, but like this, setup and army composition that we're going to be seeing out of Oliviera can't happen in game 1, can't happen in game 2.
Yeah.
It's like it's only doing these adaptations and changes of going, I need a Viking here. I know I've seen it game and game and game again. I know I need a Viking because the Raven just can't cut it. And so, he might add on to the Raven later, but it's at this point, this is a unique characteristic of game 5 in this series.
Yeah, and instead of the tech lab on the starport, he went straight into producing the tank and then the Viking. So that's something I definitely want to take note. Actually, going to put that in my. I don't know how we're going to end up like segmenting this notepad, but I'm going to just right now we're just going to put random notes for both players, and maybe one day I'll just like we'll figure out how to separate it. So like even Oliviera. I'm gonna put Olive because I don't have time to write the full name. Perfect. Tech Lab instead of no. Tank plus Viking. And I think this is really kind of unique because he went Viking knowing, like he put the read on Maru. Saying that I know what you're going to do. I'm going to get the Viking to shut this down ahead of time.
And he made that read off of poking up and seeing a barracks, a supply depot.
Wait, did you see that? Wait, where was that?
And so, like, if you look at his scouting, his first SCV that he sent out, he saw there was no SCV making a command center on the low ground. He saw the barrack placement. He didn't see a command center next to the barracks. Like, oh, Maro's just being like super defensive and keeping his CC. He's making it in his base and then lifting it on. Like, so he got that read. Okay, you're teching up. The way that you do your fast tech in this series has been this elevator play. I'm just going to get super ready for that.
Hold on. I'm going to actually go with Funky Monkey's Olive Era. I'm going to just put that Olive Era.
I like that.
Olive Era. The new Olive Era. We are now into the new Olive Era. Okay, so actually, thank goodness I have you here because I actually didn't catch that. Because I was like, how did he even... I thought it was just a blind counter. I straight up was like, oh, maybe it's just blind counter. But yeah, I see that that's all the scouting information you need because in my mind, I'm going to preface this, you all here. I am coming from the Protoss side, but since I've ended up watching so much Terran, I'm actually I actually think TVT is my favorite matchup. I don't know if I'm saying that because I loved watching Maru versus Oliveira, or if I'm just like fanboying or not. I don't know. But
I mean, TVT is very entertaining, right? Because it's depending if it's fast paced or not, or even if it's positional tank battles, and like it's very nuanced, and so
yeah,
it's
I don't know. I guess I don't think I appreciated it before, but I don't know.
mm-hmm.
I was never a big fan. I always know the one I hate the most is ZVZ. I hate watching ZVZ. ZVZ is like so crazy boring to me. I cannot watch it. I have a hard time with ZVZ.
Maybe it'll be a little while before we see that kind of just pure ZVZ finals again. Maybe,
Ugh,
we've gotten such
I
a high
hope
level of players.
I hope we really. I hope I would. If we never see ZVZ again, I would not cry. I would not cry. There would be no tears for me if I never see ZVZ again. So we actually saw Mario get like denied. You know, he's like, nope, 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 nope. It's like Artosalope, just
I love
blocking.
him. Now this is unique too. Of like, Morrow is like, I need to find an angle. There's got to be some angle. Okay, your main base. No, I can't get in there. Let me try the natural. Nope, can't even get in there.
I wonder what he was kind of hoping for.
Like,
I wonder what he was hoping for in that. Like, I wonder what he was expecting. I think maybe it's just probably poking. Like, he probably
yes.
didn't expect to get any damage done, but kind of wonder what he was hoping to maybe get like information there. Because now you have him dropping this like Kelly in here. I think he just really wants information.
Yes, right. Get that 100% scouting information. He's checking, okay, how you doing on your third CC? Because Morrow's putting his on location, where Oliviera is putting his in his base. And that's that reaction of, okay, you're sharking outside my base, you're poking, you're prodding. And so like there's that like switch up now from both players. How do we get information to find the next stages? Oliviera drops a scan. He's trying to get that information that way. And he's now in that kind of ping pong tennis match that we talked about. Okay, he served, Morrow served over to Oliviera. Nothing got done, but got some scouting. Now it's Oliviera's turn to kind of serve back and push back and see what he can do here.
And did Morrow just put that on the low ground too? That was on the low ground as well, wasn't it? The third.
So that was like that key information of like, okay, I can't get in, can't do much here, but at least I can poke and prod and get an advantage over you because my third is a little bit faster and my third is on location. So it's going to be up quicker than yours is.
You know what? And here we go. We're going to do like the first battle. I love this battle. I've watched this battle like 17 times just to like really understand the nuance of it. I think we're going to like stop right here. One of the things here, like Oliviera is like pressing. I don't even know really what he obviously got a scan off and he thought to himself, like, I'm going to take this. I can take this. He's got the two Ravens. What are we, like half energy Ravens? Maru has one Raven. You know, I think it's like a pretty solid, you know.
I mean, you like if you sit here and that like initial quick glance, both have scanned and they have to make that gut reaction right here and go, okay, let me count real quick. How many tanks, how many Marine, like, and they're sitting here and just glancing at these army comps and trying to determine, like you said, you know, do I have the advantage? Can I make something happen? And it's like, okay, there's a medevac out for Morrow. There's only one Raven. So already Oliviera goes, well, I have two Ravens and a Viking. So I'm winning the air battle no matter what. I mean.
So when I saw this battle, or when I came to this battle, I thought this battle was like easy Oliviera. I really did, because the Viking should have zoned out the Maru's Raven. I actually was kind of surprised how this goes. Actually, why don't we maybe go through it? He's poking. He's getting, getting some damage off. The lock on, on the Raven.
Lock on was nice. Weakening the Raven. And there, like you talked about earlier, the auto turrets immediately. Like, hey, I'm going to absorb some tank shots out of this one so I can reposition. It's forcing the tanks to be targeting down that instead of the tanks, instead of the Marines that are moving their way forward here. But again, it's like you see big stims coming out and it's like, okay, everybody's going to pounce and move forward and we're going to just see how things are going to work out in this position. Like, a tank's already low for Oliviera going into this. So those first couple auto turrets weren't even enough to absorb all the tank shots that Olivier was trying to do here.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think that um Maru targeted down these auto turrets like right away. Didn't even suffer them. He's just like whatever. Actually slow this down a little bit, and then yeah, he didn't even. Can I just drag it a few seconds and then see? I want to right when he throws down uh, the first auto turret. Maru didn't even just banged it. Thing is though, I don't know where even the other times when Maru went up against his auto turrets. I don't know if this is just like a new reaction for him because a lot of other times, a lot of Olivier's auto turrets got a lot of damage down.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if he was just prepared for it this time.
Yeah, but I mean that like it's game 5, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's
yeah.
seen it time and time again.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, I know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You're not gonna lock out my siege tanks. You're not gonna throw the anti-armor missiles. You're going for the auto turrets.
Yeah.
So he's like ready for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got the disable off.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I wanted to bring that I thought was interesting. Okay, so if you notice the tanks, if you notice Maru's tanks, it all looks like they should technically hit all of Oliviera's tanks, except for this far back tank. It looks like it's in range, but actually is not in range. That was something that
Interesting.
it's
Just
actually not.
enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually not in range. Actually, and all these back tanks are not in range of Maru's main tanks here. I thought that was really interesting to take note. This is not anyone. I don't think anyone can really take anything from that in terms of like learning. But I don't know what made it so deceptive for Maru to not be able to, because then he ends up rushing in with the SCVs trying to run down these tanks, and these tanks are actually not in range of Maru's tanks. So he's gonna have to unsiege and then come a little closer. Yeah. So like this tank here is just out of range completely. So he's gonna have to come closer. But this time though, Olivier lost all of his other tanks.
Right. Lost all his other tanks. He's only got 2 Marines. But he does have Marines compared to Morrow, who's like, producing him from his bearings. He does have that kind of defender's advantage that, okay, my Marines will get there, but that boom, immediately loses a tank, loses a second tank. So it's like that little like slight thing of going, well, if his tank, if he had one tank a little bit closer, maybe, but even then it's like that dangerous position. But that juggling there, made all the difference. And that medevac that we saw at the beginning that we thought, oh, okay, that reason that Olivier decided to take that fight to begin with was scanning and seeing, oh, you're down a Raven, you're down a Viking, I have the air superiority, but the medevacs lasted and he kept producing them to be able to juggle that in the end and like take that fight.
Yeah, I think that I to me, with my untrained eye, it looked like a pretty good fight. Like it looked like it was a fight that should have been okay. Because on paper, it looked like he had the strong advantage. Like on paper, it seems like it was fine to me.
No, it did. And it's like both players having to make that split second decision. Okay, how, is this enough to make something happen? And really it's just, even if you go through and just sort of like trade off armies, the real question is, okay, did I get all the tanks? And no, he didn't. So it's like allows Mara to try to push in. But even this, like kind of, I'm going in, that bunker is still there, which makes a difference here where like, maybe other players would have salvaged it by now and used those resources. But it's like, Olivier being smart and just saying, I'm going to keep this as long as possible because I know it's going to be useful.
Monkey wants to know, when is Naman versus Maru?
Never. No way.
Naman versus Maru.
I could never hang in that upper echelon of pro players.
I would watch that.
I can't even. Yeah, right?
I would watch that. Naman versus Maru.
You give me an Archon mode with Olivier, and then we'll talk.
Naman versus Maru. I would watch it. Actually, what should I put on our magical notepad? I wonder if there's any kind of notes I could have taken from that. Like, what was maybe some of the good takeaways from that battle with Maru, if there was anything? There may not be anything, but I was just like, I just feel like I every time I saw it, I've watched that battle a couple of times. I still am not 100% sure. Like, I get that the battle didn't go well after, like, he dropped on the auto turrets, pulled back, but his tanks just melted. I don't even know if I really
His
saw.
tanks just melted, and I think it was like neither player had enough of a Marine army to crush each other's army there. So that's why we got left with that sort of, oh, it's like tank versus tank or tank versus Viking, and this like kind of weird, like awkward position where players are like, all right, I'm going to drop these down, and you're lifting those up, and it's this like juggling of both players trying to figure the way in that position after all the
Okay.
Marines were gone.
Yeah. Okay, maybe no strong lessons from there, but
Yeah.
let's see what we got.
Yeah, really, it's not really anything either player could have done differently.
Yeah.
In that situation, it's more of consideration of their skills and knowledge of the units that they have, like to kind of make those split second decisions to, okay, I need to land the Vikings now. Oh, I need to start lifting these units up in the medevac, and that prioritizing of the units that you have at your disposal. And this is not like having a forward missile turret like that is like, I don't know, not something that I'm used to seeing out of Terran players. Like normally you'll see like turrets in these like positionings here to protect against drops and things like that, or catch different things. But like, the missile turret is the most forward building at this expansion here.
Why though? Like, what's the core thing? Is it to catch like drops? Like, why do you think he's just kind of, or is it to help with the Vikings?
I think it is. It's almost like a zoning maneuver here, because immediately it's like one Viking falls just from the missile turret, and it's like kind of that slight pushback. Hey, I'll zone out. You're going to lead with your Vikings anyway to get that vision for your tanks, and they're already just kind of taking damage and not able to do anything.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird, like smart decision making of like, well, the sensor towers have less range now. They're a little bit smaller, so maybe this just kind of adds a little bit extra protection there.
Yeah, I was even thinking to myself, like, that was really out in the open, and I guess like at first that was to catch drops, but yeah. And Maru actually consumes a lot of his Marine forces. Oh, you know what? I didn't even notice. We got like at the same time, and this is actually something that we saw a lot. I think whenever Maru presses, so does Oliveira at the same time. Actually, turn down my audio just a little bit because it is blaring in my ear. Meh. Actually, gonna leave the master volume on. Sound effects. There we go.
I mean, that was, like that back and forth we keep seeing from players. Okay, I'm pushing up, and then like Olivier is the one that's coming out ahead in those engagements of like, they're even in upgrades though. It's not like, one player is sitting there like ahead of the other. Like they're both sitting at 1-1s with their Marines. So it's not like, oh, one player has, 2-2 or anything like that. So it's like, still though, it's because they're as good as they are that we can see these like even trades up to this point, really.
One thing to note too is the factory, like in terms of factories, we're looking at how are we in terms of how are we looking at in terms of the amount of tanks? Are we even? No. So Maru is at 7 tanks, Olivia is at 4. So actually Olivier is down on the tank game. And what I've learned too is that in TVT, especially like in this one, tanks make a huge difference. Like tanks are just the tanks, and then controlling the air. Controlling the air for tanks. I guess really what it boils down to is controlling the air for tanks.
Right. And if you do have that higher Marine count, then you have to be active and trying to drop or trying to run and use their mobility, because tanks, of course, they have to be protected. They have to do that siege up and move around. But like this little fight in the middle there of just like, I'll go in, I'll pick apart your Marines that you have a smaller battalion of Marines and a bigger tank army that you have to babysit, and you're not babysitting if you're charging your Marines forward.
Right,
So
right.
it's like that kind of, you know, ebb and flow and the advantages and disadvantages. Yes, tanks are stronger. You know, you can siege up your opponent's bases and like really put the hurting on them. But in these fights in the middle, you're kind of left wanting at that point.
This is an interesting fight too, because I think even before we saw them kind of dancing around, and then
Mhm.
let me just actually go back a second because I you know, they're kind of at this point feeling each other out, dancing around, um, and then if I remember correctly or saw correctly, Oliviera's Marines kind of get a little pincered in.
Mm-hmm.
And then he repositions and pushes up. But like I like Maru's tank position here. It's like it just feels more deadly. Like Oliviera's tanks are clearly too far back at this time.
Yeah, too far back, but
They're safe.
they're safe, right? They're not in danger. There's no Marines to jump forward and pounce on them. Like you're and again, that's where they just kind of go, okay, cool, we traded off, let's back up. No,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
real winner or losers after that fight, even though we can look at it and go, well, Maru is just getting further and further ahead in his tank count, and eventually he can just kind of start, you know, leaning down on Oliviera's base and get himself in a position where he's sieged up in a good spot. But he's got to like babysit those tanks if he does that, because he doesn't have that, like, you know, strong Marine army in comparison, or strong Viking count in comparison. Like he's got to find a way to kind of utilize the army that he has.
The Viking count and like the tank count right now is really into Maru's favor. Where are we in upgrades? Actually, upgrades to actually upgrades are even too. So um
Even across the board. So it is going to come down to that positioning then. Things are even.
yeah.
Okay, how do you get a good spot here? Oh, this is that like weird, like, I'm going to make a large arc here with my tanks, but by doing that, look, it's like each of them are kind of vulnerable by themselves. Now that you have your tanks over here, there's not enough Marines to protect them. Okay, but if I don't have Marines protecting them, then my bottom tanks are vulnerable. So it's like this, trying to utilize what he had, but like I'd like where his head's at and trying to do this and really put the pressure on that base, but it's like he didn't have enough medevacs, or he didn't have like.
Isn't there a level of where it's just, you know, get that damage done? Because he's had a hard
Yes,
time getting damage done, I think.
he is. I mean,
This
he's ahead in supply going into this spot, right? You're like, his army's bigger, his worker count's bigger, like he's feeling good, so he's like, I can take these risks to make something happen. But by loading up all of his medevacs pretty much with tank, like there's like 4 Marines over here or something for Morrow, and he doesn't have any Vikings with that army because he has to keep him with his tanks down in the south. And it's like, it's this weird vulnerable spot where you're trying to do to get damage, and I don't know if it's enough of damage to, like, by placing those tanks there. Yeah, you're sieging up on the SCVs, you're sieging up on
yeah,
that
yeah.
base, but you're not guaranteed to kill this base from this position.
I
Like, I feel like the
I
south
wonder
tanks
is
aren't in a
that
good enough spot. I don't know.
I think even I think that maybe the Oliviera's Viking response may have been not unexpected, but like maybe the amount. And then at the same
Mm,
time, Oliviera, I think I don't, maybe I'm not too TVT familiar, but like I loved, and we talked about this earlier about the dynamicness of it. But I love that every time Maru commits to something, Oliviera like punishes him at the same time as defending. It's
right.
always this like, you know, you've attacked me and now you're gonna hurt for that. There's a little bit of hurt for you at the same time.
Yeah,
Um,
right. There's like that double drop of Marines that
yeah,
are over
yeah,
here
yeah,
denying that expansion. They're like, yeah,
yeah, yeah,
cool. All right.
yeah,
I'll
yeah. That's
defend against this and kill your base. What you're trying to do to me, I'll actually do to you instead.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's always this exchange of uneven damage.
Mm,
You know.
yes.
So okay, so I kind of I liked what Mario was doing here. I like the idea of trying to, because like he was, I guess in many ways he's going to hold you at bay, hold you at siege at bay, but at the same time he's going to make sure he gets his base, which was his, I guess the initial plan is to make sure he gets his base. His base gets taken, but in the
I mean,
reverse.
it's like that. The one tank that's right next to the command center for Oliveira is the saving grace here. It prevents Morrow from moving his southern tanks up any further up and moving his Marines any further up. Like, imagine if he could have just like a straight line from the north to the south with these tanks and like connected up and Marines there. Like, that base is done, but he
Yeah.
can't. And it's just like a pocket here and a pocket there because that one lone tank by the command center has enough range to deny anything that's going to get close.
You know, I
Like,
didn't
even
even
these
notice that.
tanks for Olivier are a little further back that, yeah, you could kind of nudge your way forward a little bit and get a little bit closer. But that single tank is just like scary enough to just, keep things at bay. But
Yeah, actually, it's just funny I didn't notice it before.
yeah, it's like us sitting here and pausing and analyzing positionings. It's like, oh, this slight little thing here, this little advantage that he's got. But it's again, Maro's got a good idea to try to make something happen. But it's, I don't know. Even here, if it's like, if you're trying to go for like, more medevac play and stuff, that's great. Find better angles or different angles to attack
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you can definitely get advantages that way. But against Oliveira, I guess
What did you think
it's not even
about?
enough.
What did you think about? Was he's about to drop these two? Like he's gonna do a double Marine drop onto these
Mhm.
tanks, and what did you think of it in general?
I think it's like it's that perfect read of like, I have my Vikings here. I know that you don't have any
Yeah,
Vikings. I
yeah,
know that, like, I've pushed back your medevacs now. I see that you have a couple Marines, but they're already weak. So I can commit essentially 2 full battalions of Marines from these medevacs to guarantee that all of these tanks are going to die. And you know what? How many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks that are going to go down from this.
yeah, yeah.
And then that shifts that dynamic again, where then Olivier jumps up in the lead. Yes, I'll trade Marines for tanks all day because I've got plenty of barracks and I can make Marines easy. So it's like that. It's that calculated thing that they have to do, or that split second. Just like at the very beginning, we saw that split second decision. Okay, is this fight worth it just from a scan? I have to analyze this. Oh, you don't have an extra Raven. Oh, you don't have this, and taking advantage of it. So that like game sense from just hours of playing.
Yeah, one thing I did find interesting and point out too is that Maru's Vikings are up down by his
Mhm.
tanks and his bundled Marines. This gives free airspace to this, you know, essentially this drop to come in and do damage. And so, because I was like, oh, maybe Olivia just had more Vikings, but no, but they're same even Vikings. Just
But if those Vikings had been up there earlier, it would have denied this drop. Like, you would have easily killed off, like, single target down, one medevac gone, and then you could worry about the second one. But like there, where he was kind of, oh, I need to move my Vikings. By the time he had moved up there, the drops had
it's
already
already
started.
there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess he was using the Vikings to cover this area down here to make, or the other tanks initially to make sure that they don't get dropped on. And it was just maybe a 50-50 of where he maybe assumed or expected
Mhm.
Olivier to drop, if at all. He was just kind of covering that flank.
Oh, and then look, the Marines came back. Hey, we killed the command center. We did it, guys.
We did it, boys. We
Did it.
killed the command center. We got it. But Olivier's trades do kind of happen out. Like he does, I think he always sort of gets the better end of the trades. It feels.
Yeah, right, exactly. Every time that there's like these engagements or something that's happening, and Olivier is also trying to sneak in some damage, it's the sneak in damage that always is putting Olivier better off than
Yeah,
Maro's like
yeah, that's what
head
I'm
on
thinking.
attack.
He does, yeah. He gets the sneaking damage, and the sneaking damage always seems to feel like that's like the progress he makes is through the sneaking damage. You know, maybe he stalemates on the actual engagement, but his sneaking damage always gets him a little bit further.
Lots of scans, lots of scans.
Scans. Tons of Marines. Now Olivier is actually 13 tanks. He's 13, tomorrow's 7. Vikings are a little even. Oh, I take that back. Tanks are starting to whittle down.
Yeah, it's like Maro's still just kind of going for that head on. And part of that is, related to, okay, we've got, planetary fortress on the right hand side for Olivier. He's got sensor towers. Like anywhere that Maru's going to try to push up, it's
Yeah.
going to be hard, and he's going to know. But Maru is like, I have to attack. This is my play style. I need to attack to get something done, because this is the best way that I know how to play StarCraft, and I've had years of trophies behind me of doing this play style.
I wonder, like, I don't know any better. What would have been the better solution here? Because I know, like, him throwing, he does do a lot of these Marines, and it does open up a lot of supply for him to get rid of a lot of these Marines. But objectively, I wonder what would have been the best thing to do.
Yeah, and you see, like, he's moving to the right while he's trying to do it. It's like almost like a setup, and he kind of had to go, oh, I need to go now and drop these now right before the missile turrets end. But he would have loved to have had his like tanks or his Marines over, also posturing over on the right hand side to like do a simultaneous attack. But
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
like, he couldn't. He's just like forced into these like, oh, I guess I have to do this now, or I guess I need to try to do that. Like already committed instead of like backing up. He's not, second guessing himself. He's going for it every time, which is, probably a good skill to have for a
Obviously,
player,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's not working though.
Because like I'm wondering if attacking into. Oh, not even. There's a planetary here, so never mind. That's not.
Yeah.
That would have been a good idea either.
Right, unless you get tanks up there to really make a difference, but and I don't know. With the sensor tower, it allows
Yeah.
Levere to reposition, but
And this third is probably the most vulnerable, and even then it's the hardest to get to because of all the sensor towers, right? So
yeah.
even with the change to the sensor tower, it still wasn't really not really
Right,
enough.
you can already see it just like kind of rings around the map for both
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like, I
Uh,
need all the information.
that got some Cheeto cannons.
Mm-hmm.
The Liberator. Are we the first? Is Olivia the first to get the Liberator out?
Yes, first to make that transition here, and like that's huge. Of all the pressure that Morrow has pushed on him, he's just been in that defensive mode. I'm defend, 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 defend until I feel comfortable enough that I can move out. And that comfortable enough is, oh, I have liberators now. Now I can break your siege line.
And so we actually had a bliss split here because Maru went more not Vikings, Ravens. So he's got 4 to Oliviera's 1. But we got Liberators, and the actual Viking count is in Oliviera's favor, 10 to 8. But that's not like a huge lead here. But I think we just saw how much damage did we get done here in terms of the volleys, because this is kind of, you got the Cheeto cannon down on Oliviera. I thought that would have been a good way for him to take out this air battle. But
Yeah,
instead,
very, very close, right? Like both just and they're even in upgrades too. So it's not like an upgrade advantage to help them
no,
out here. Just that. Okay, I just have like those 2 extra Vikings going into this fight for just that like 2 extra volleys. It's all I need to just kind of help turn that tide.
I want to say it's the Liberators that make the difference here, because the Liberators force Maru to have to reposition, and each time he gets a little bit of a pick, a little bit of a pick, a little bit of pick. Like he gets these tanks, he picks these tanks, and then every time Maru has to back up. And I think you even made this note in our notes before. It's like Maru can lose this. Like he can lose his space. He
Like
can lose his space.
he's got, like, you just look, it's just red across the whole bottom.
Yeah,
of
he
the
can
map.
lose his
Like
space.
it's like scary, because it's like, okay, if I lose this base, where do you go from here? How do I kind of defend like my natural and my production as well as my bases to the right? So it's like kind of that, like, okay, I need to keep this alive. I need to protect this. But it's like by kind of like, you look, all the Marines are going to push over by the Vespian, and all the tanks are to the right. Like everything's starting to get split and separated, where you want your Marines to protect your tanks.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like the Liberators prevent that from happening. The Liberators just like completely break apart this defense that Mara would normally have here.
Yeah. Actually, add to their magical notepad. I'm going to put some first. I think I started to write some notes. Vikings are the bomb. But actually, like, plus, controls space. But Liberators What do you say? Liberators force
I
the
mean,
move. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Like liberators are like, break apart the traditional TVT
yeah.
because it's like Marine tank up to this point, and now it's just all that's broken. You can't do it anymore because you lose your tanks, you lose your Marines. So you gotta switch it up, change it up here.
Change it up. Change it up. Well, the tanks are kind of, I think one of the things we saw in like TVT is like tanks are one of the biggest key units because they, they go so good into like even to the late game, and
Yep.
then liberators put the hard squeeze on that, right? So if you have again Vikings controlling the skies plus liberators, shut down the tanks,
The siege breakers.
siege breakers. Uyakasha. All right. Beep, beep.
Yeah, look at this. Okay, anti-armor missile. I'll just back up, and you can't even capitalize on that fact. And I'll just
Yeah.
keep leap forwarding forward and force you to keep backing up.
Liberators make the difference. The liberators are all the difference in this battle. Liberators is where it's at.
Yeah, all those Marines that were hiding back for the longest time now just like whoom, snowball in and just immediately destroy that base.
Yeah, just take it out almost instantly.
Okay. So like Oliviera didn't know about this base down here. Like, you would assume and expect at this point, but now it's like, all right, get in here, scout, and already a Liberator just starts camping and forcing Morrow not to be able to mine from this base, cutting down his production there.
Actually, where's let's see, Oliveira's vision. So yeah, he does see it. He brought the liberators down.
Just like, all right, I'll send one. Let's scout and see. Oh, you don't have like any missile turrets there. And that, like, you look at all of Oliviera's like expansion, except for his third base, like has a missile turret at it, really.
Yeah.
Like all of his like expansions that he's got out like on the map here. So it's like just little slight differences of prioritizing defensive structures. And another base will fall.
Takes out 2.
Takes that. Yeah. And I
2.
mean, now at least Morrow can kind of like lock the door over here and says, okay, you can't come this way anymore. All right. I'm locking it in. You can't come over here.
Was that like 3 bases? He technically got 3 command centers, 2 bases, 3 command centers.
Yes. And if you think it's like this little pocket expansion above here, Morrow started to make that as Olivia approached and forced the cancel on that. So it's like, essentially locking down 3 bases altogether there. But
I want to say one of my favorite things I like this move is that Olivia goes and he does this kind of like, he's like, it's almost like this hostage situation where he's like, okay, I'm going to actually go take your production. So either you're going to chase down my army and lose your production, or you let my army go free and save your production. I love it. I love it because there's kind of like this. Oh, he's like, oh, your production is exposed. I'm so close to your base. What will you do?
I'm so scary. Look out. How you going to handle this?
They just jump in.
That's like the Vikings were over in the corner almost protecting that for a little bit, and then he repositioned them back up to the tanks, which allowed him like that split second for Oliviera to capitalize and move in. He goes, oh, the Vikings are gone? Okay, I'll just come in here and mess with it, and then just get out.
He's like bye, Felicia.
Yep. And at that point, it's like, oh, I've scouted your base over here that you had an expansion. I guess I'll just kill that.
Man, this is where Oliviera got a lot. I would say this is probably one of the stronger moments of damage for Oliviera because he got what are we at now? 3 command centers, possibly this planetary, maybe. Like I can't remember if we're gonna get it. I feel like he's gonna get it. It's very close. God, Maru was just like, well, fuck it, I'm coming up.
Yeah. I mean, that, normally that would be really scary when you look at, oh, there's like 4 or 5 tanks up there, but like just Oliveira is able to get in there and get position and like swing his way back. And the tanks that were there that like spread was just enough to slow things down that those Marines weren't able to keep pushing. Like if those tanks weren't there, those Marines would be in the natural in the main base on the production at that point. But like Olivier is saying, you know what? I'll just keep a couple of tanks
Yeah,
back
yeah.
at home just in case as I start rebuilding my army after that push. And, you know, they'll be already sieged up just in case. Like these, like already that defensive mindset of Olivier, even though like we talk about his aggressive score and his offense being the highest stat,
Yeah.
it's these decision makings to be defensive against Morrow that's giving him these edges in all of this, like on this map in particular.
I wonder if Maru thought that he maybe could thought that Olivier committed more of these tanks than he did to break up this planetary, because he went in there obviously super deep and he was like, I'm coming for you. Like that felt like game ending level of commitment. That felt like very much game ending level of commitment right there.
I have my whole army. I'm going.
Yeah.
I know that you have stuff over here on the right hand side of the map. I can see it because I'm repairing that command center. Like the planetary is just a delay tactic, but I know you've got tanks, so I'm going. You have a vulnerability here, and I'm going to exploit it. Except it wasn't as vulnerable as he thought it was.
Is it because the idea here is he you know, obviously in an imperfect informational world, is like, okay, I know you have 4 tanks committed. That's 4 tanks that won't be up there waiting for me.
Yeah.
Right. That's like 4 tanks you won't have ready for me, and yet he was ready. So
right, it's like it's 15 tanks to 8 here.
Yeah.
Even in this, like, oh, I've got 60 Marines. This is great. But like the spread of the tanks, or even if you charge forward and you're trying to pounce on them, you're not able to even like commit to that. So there we go. Boom. Blankets with the lockdowns. Now we can get the tanks like dealt with. But part of that was like the Vikings and the Ravens of Olivier over here on the right that Morrow had to kind of swing the Marines to deal with that and couldn't kind of charge forward like he anticipated. It's like, oh, I have to pivot. And so
this feels like, because this does feel game ending for me. And when I first saw it, it felt very game ending because he dropped the Cheeto cannon. The tanks are disabled. There's like 1 tank. Actually, no, all tanks are disabled. We got all tanks disabled. 4 of them returning. Or I mean, like 3 of them close by. This feels game ending for me. And yet, let's slow it down just for a sec. I just kind of want to see how this goes in slow motion. Because Marines take out all these tanks up here. Pretty much all Olivier's tanks are gone, except for this like 1 tank, this solo hero tank, which I wonder if it's like the tank from before that was hiding behind the refinery. This air battle feels like this is where it went, because right now we're at 12-7. Okay, so it is the air battle that makes a difference here, because look, Olivier, actually before this battle starts, Olivier has 15 Vikings.
15 Vikings. Now there are 8 Ravens, but Morrow has to commit so much of his energy into locking down those tanks at the beginning.
Yeah, but
so
it's only one.
As much.
Yeah, only 1 Raven has really any energy at this point. Only 1 Raven has any energy. It's like what are we at? 128 energy. It's only 1 Raven has only 128 energy. Because right now, Mario definitely has like the clear advantage. But
again, it's like
he
can't push up and take advantage of his army. Where it's like, oh, you want to push up? Well, how are you going to see my stuff? Because I'm just going to kill all of your eyes in the sky.
Yeah. No vision for these tanks. See if we can go to Maru's view. Yeah, you just can't see up, but he has to constantly scan to keep the vision from the tanks.
Oh, even that lone medevac that he's got, out of energy.
Out of energy. Yeah.
They're just like everything's low energy right now.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, well, I can't push in there. Let me find another way around.
By this time, though, he's lost all his Vikings. Maru has 1 Viking left, which I actually don't know where it is. Oh, there it is. It's flying up. So Maro's just coming to push in, disables. Definitely winning. But now the 4 tanks have reunited, and we have, I guess what you could say is, Liberators. Liberators here. So now Maru has to disengage. He has to be like, okay, never mind. Forget it.
But even there, it's like, what damage did Morrow actually do?
Didn't. He didn't do any damage. No damage. That was the problem. But he did, like, he's expanding. He's getting a little expansion going on. Getting a little bit of expansion, and Olivier was like, I'm gonna build my own expansions. Okay. This is one of my quintessential favorite moments, because you have a moment here where Maru's like, okay, I'm gonna get something done. Goes for this tank. And Oliviera is like, all right, well, I'm coming for my own. Here's something I wanted to point out. And it's my favorite. This is actually my favorite part of the entire game. I'm gonna go back a second. All right. This army here, Oliviera's army. All right. The Liberators are coming. And then one lone Liberator splits off, and he goes and does his own thing. He's off. He's running away to go do his own thing. This,
right? He sent 2, one to the right side, one to the left side. I call
this hero Liberator. He's my hero. And so, Maru's gets damaged, and then he's like, fuck, gotta get back to my base. And then Oliviera just like bolts for it. He's just like runs up.
This is exactly what Mara wanted to do that he was unable to do,
like just
because of those 4 tanks that he had positioned outside of his natural, and now boom, this is like, I wanted to do this, and now Olivier had done it and done it better because he's got Liberators, he's got Vikings, he's got Marines. Like you said, the Liberators being the heroes here.
Yeah, but here, like, you got completely decimates the army, and he gets the damage done. But, want to bring up, reverse a little bit second. Up in the top left-hand corner, while all this is going on, you got the hero Liberator just sieging up at this base. While this is all going on, hero Liberator just getting some damage done by himself.
And then on the right-hand side as well,
there's
that second Liberator that just shows up. Boom, boom, boom.
Both these 2 hero Liberators.
Yeah, what is that? 18, 19, 20 kills on that first Liberator. Second Liberator down on the bottom. 13 kills.
34.
14 kills.
Yeah. 34 altogether. Together,
just 2 units. You just like shift click, boom, 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 set them up, send your army, and then you're focused on attacking while the harassment's happening. Like that, very, very nice play. Something that Morrow cannot do because he has not been able to transition into Liberators.
Yeah. He's been caught up.
I love this. Just like, you're expanding over here.
You're where I want to be. You need to move, girl. You need to move because I want to sit here.
Boom. And look at that. Even putting the turret in the back as well as like the front by that new bait, like these just defensive structures important.
Now by the time Maru's come up here, it's like he's like, fuck.
He's like, nope, I'm not here. I'm just kidding. I'm leaving. Not like the scans for both players, just like they have to know where each other is, because like if you don't, that's where you're going to be in trouble, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're going to start having them pressure you at a base that you weren't ready for. But like the amount of vision that Oliviera has from his sensor towers, from the scans, like he knows where Maro's kind of playing in the dark right now. Like he has to keep scanning, but like he doesn't have the sensor towers to help him out.
Yeah.
Like the whole right side of the map is a big question mark at this point.
Oliviera's defense is just so set up, and he's getting so much damage got so much damage on with the Liberators. Did we? Oh wait, are we at that point already where the miss? Oh my, the miss movement All right. I didn't realize we got to that point already. So that critical moment, there it is. There it is. There it
hurts every
is.
time.
There it is.
You have had to have had this happen to you if you're a StarCraft player.
I wonder
Just
where
one point or not sitting there, just okay, let's all go over here, let's go there, and then units just like, yeah, this is the fastest way.
I wonder where he clicked. Like, where did he click?
Actually, yeah, back up and we'll like look at.
I wonder, like,
Mara's
where did he
point of
click
view.
that caused that to happen? Like, not that it's critical for anybody to learn anything from, but like he clicked somewhere that caused that to happen. So let's see if we can maybe slow that down. I'm curious to know where he clicked.
Liberator again.
It's like this fucking Liberator always in my garden, stealing my things.
Okay, there's the siege up.
Where did he click?
Oh man. So he was like, he clicked and then just flashed over to his expansions and like wasn't even looking, and then looked back at his army and it was too late.
So he's trying to go to his expansion?
Well, he clicked off to the left somewhere up here. Because I was watching from his point of view, and then like as soon as he told his army to go off to the left, he checked back. He like his camera flashed over to both of his expansions, and he like, okay, let me check over here, let me check there, and then he brings his camera back up to his army as his tanks are getting pounced on because they were moving off to the right.
It's just a total. It was just a total misclick.
It was just total like, oh, all right, let's go, let's reposition, let's check. Is your army at my base? Is that this expansion? Is there a liberator? Like all these things that he has to think about and be worried about, and that's all it takes. Sometimes.
That's what it takes. That's all it takes. Wow. That's all it. That was it. Wow. All right, so we got two more. I don't think the other ones are as long as that one. That one was specifically long.
And there was a lot to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about
with just like nuances for it being game 5 and you know, two of the best players in the world. You know, it's got a lot of depth to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up a new notepad. A no notepad now has tabs. This is new for me. I didn't know notepad has tabs. In the future,
that's cool.
All right. So this is Rainer versus Olivia, and I think the context for this game, which is why I chose this, was Rainer's up 2-0 at this time.
Yes.
And Oliviera calls for a tactical pause. Well, it's not really a tactical pause, but he calls for like a break. If you're watching the stream, they actually go on break for a little bit. And what I heard was, or what I read from watching Oliviera's stream, is that he learned from innovation to slow down the game, like slow down the pace of the game, that his opponent used up a lot of energy mentally. And so like, you know, Rainer's, you know, he's like winning and he's feeling himself. And he's just like, yeah, I got this. Easy peasy, easy 3-0. Easy peasy. And yeah, Oliviera, what I read correctly is he went to the washroom, washed his face, and then took a breath and like slowed down his thoughts, slowed down the pacing of the game, and then they go into this game. I thought this would be really fun to look into, to kind of see how it maybe changes up. You know, how the tide of the games. Admittedly, I didn't watch the game 1 and 2, but I thought it would still be fun to go into it from here.
Yeah, I think that'll be good, just to like kind of to see, and that's something to kind of consider too. Like if you're gaming StarCraft 2 or any game in general that you're competing at, whether you're laddering or something like that, take that mental break. Right, give yourself a second to collect yourself, breathe before. Don't just like spam cues. Like if you're on that like losing streak and like, no, I'm playing till I win. Like just take a breath real quick and then queue up. You don't like. I'm not saying you don't have to stop, but just give yourself a breather. It helps.
I don't know. Like I like to think of Oliviera as like the Sun Tzu of StarCraft 2. That's my title for him. The new Sun Tzu.
I like that.
Sun Tzu reincarnated as Oliveira. You should just do like another name change and just call himself Sun Tzu. Just change it to Sun Tzu. Like I don't
Yeah,
see
just
that.
shift it up again. That's fine, right?
Just change it. Just change it to Sun Tzu, and then that's it. All right, let's do it. Neo. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to change my observer interface. I think it's. I never remember which one is the real one. Is it like Pro 2020? Is it Pro 2020?
I can never remember.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with this one, Pro 2020. I'm pretty sure it's this one, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, cool. Let's do it. Neo Humanity. Neo Humanity. I always like the colors of this map.
Yeah. I think it's your Protoss brain going, look at these nice yellows and yellows and purples here. That's
I'm definitely attracted to the colors. I definitely am attracted to the colors.
I mean, there's something to be said about certain maps that you go, you know what? The aesthetic of this map, just I like it so much better. I feel like I'm playing better on it because just the way it looks and stuff. Like there's definitely maps that you play on, you go, something's just off. It's not like the map is bad. It's just like I just can't do it.
I want to say that I am definitely the kind of player that may just veto a map because I think it's ugly.
Hey, but like it really can affect you, right? There's these little nuances with it where you just go, nah. I'm not feeling it. Also, if you're going to be playing on a map for a while, why not play on ones that you enjoy or look pretty?
I'm 100%. I definitely like. I'll veto ugly maps. I'm like, nah. Admittedly, I haven't like even. I like I would say most of the maps in this map pool. I'm a fan aesthetically. There are some maps though. I can't think of one on the top of my head right now, but there have definitely some maps where I was like, a little gray. like the ones that are like very gray and dull. I've never been one that I favored heavily. Well, let's fast forward here.
Yeah, right. Nothing too crazy going on in these early stages. It's not like it's different when it's like a mirror matchup and you go, oh, this little uniqueness that we can talk about these slight variations in builds where it's like, nope, we're seeing TVZ and it's going to be a nice traditional opening. There's no proxies out of either players doing crazy stuff, so you don't have to be talking at that stage. So
hi, Bipolar Bear 24. We're just here doing some analysis, and for those of you who just tuning in or just jumping in, we're doing some analysis of some replays, 2 pro games, and then 1 community game. I'm looking to do this more often, so once a month we get together, me and Nanman, and then maybe we'll get a guest to also join us, and then anybody who's in the Discord, you can just come jump in and just watch and observe some games and talk. Oh, I'm just jumping past and not watching anything.
It's okay. But like, nothing crazy happening.
Nothing crazy.
Just the normal Reaper pokes, but nobody died.
Nobody died.
Showing his micro skills. Double CC.
Bipolar Bears, I wish the maps had more variations with rush distance. I believe all rush distances are relatively the same one, but so this map pool, so I've done an analysis on the map pool. This map pool actually has longer rush distance than the last map pool. These maps are actually longer in rush distance, if I remember correctly, checking my map notes. I actually, and those of you who have been chastising me to do a map guide because I did one for the last map pool, I originally had a map guide to do right before I went to Katowice, and then Oliveira won, and I essentially made pushed it back so I can work on all sorts of Oliveira videos instead. So I'm sorry, much.
We got hype. There's a new world champion. Don't I like it?
I immediately switched my priority list to work on Oliveira videos. Like I have tons of interviews that I went and did at Katowice that I'm parsing through. I talked to the owners of Basilisk. I interviewed Dark. I interviewed Cyril. So I'm still working through all those interviews. So it kind of took.
So stay tuned, guys. There's going to be a lot of awesome content coming.
Yeah, it's coming. And then obviously we have our story of Oliveira against Maru. That's coming up very soon. I was hoping for this week, but might be next week. We're putting on some of the finishing touches, hopefully.
It'll be worth the wait, though.
It will be. I will say, I don't like to maybe brag a bit, but this is definitely the thing that I've probably I would say one of the highest quality of StarCraft 2 content I've put together will be this video in terms of like production value for a video. I would like to think. I'd like to think so. So
so get hyped, everyone, because we're hyped about it. It's really where we're at.
yeah. So, if you liked our content, stay tuned for that. Oh, I'm going to actually make sure that our magical notepad is not covering any. Well, actually, it's not covering any pertinent information. Never mind, that's fine. It's in the right. It's in the right spot. It's good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
I mean, really, we're like 5 minutes in, and nothing significant.
I was just about to say that.
Like both players are just like, all right, cool. We'll just keep playing standard and just be defensive. And okay, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll see what happens. Like really, it's like Raynor's been able to drone up significantly while like being safe. Oliveira's tried to poke and prod, but and nothing really happening. So now it's like, Olivia's response to that kind of, I can't really get in and do much damage, is I'm also going to get a quicker expansion up as well. So it's going to be interesting going into it. Like the Banshee play is cool because it forces a Raynor to have to commit into like, okay, you need some spore crawlers, you need some queens out in the map, you need to do these like adjustments. Okay, well, if there's Banshees out, maybe there'll be some other stuff. The overlords are starting to like come back. Spire's coming out. Like we're really kicking into high gear now, tech wise.
And we got both like we have Olivia going for 1-1 already. I'll be honest, I'm not super versed on like TVZ, Protoss Brain, forgive me, but like I wonder if this is early for Terran to go 1-1 against Z. I don't know.
Oh, I think it's that like prioritizing, right? Of going, I'm going to prioritize my upgrades first. I'm prioritizing like the Banshees, the Hellions, and instead of going medevacs and going for like drops or going for like Widow Mines, it's like, where are you spending your gas? And so like, big power surge we're going to start seeing with all of the like barracks getting added in. So like he's going, you know what? I can cut some corners on my harassment that I would normally be doing here. I'm not going for medevac drops and stuff, so I can get the upgrades a little quicker, and then I'll jump into kind of the more normal hardy Terran army that you expect to see.
One thing I wanted to point out, and I want to say one thing about this map, Neo Humanity. I don't know if people know about it, but this map has like a gimmick. It actually has a couple gimmicks. I call them little gimmick map gimmicks. You can destroy this like thing in the center and it'll close to collapse. And if like obviously if someone's in there, they're gonna take some damage too. I thought there was one more too. I don't. Is it the sensor tower or is that Neo Humanity? Am I missing something? There was. It might be a different map where there's actually like another. Okay, it actually might not be. It might be Dragon scale. I'll have to double
like slight littleness is like the gold minerals, so like as a pathway to get into like that other expansions like from upper right, upper left, but that's not as so much of a gimmick because we've seen we've seen that stuff before. But is a little unique feature.
Well, we got this thing and a slow field. We got a slow field and we have this. Yes. And so Oliviera closed this gap to, it feels like for him it's this a stronger defensive position again, where it's like I'm gonna let you attack into me. Raynor gets like he's pushing the Zerglings. He was getting banelings. Did that? Oh, we're still working on that. Okay. It's like I saw the baneling lesson. I see it. Don't worry, Bipolar Bear. I too am hyped as fuck. It's coming. I feel it. I feel it. It's a good time, I think. Oliviera, I think, has given a lot of hype for people, including myself, content creators around, to tell all sorts of great stories around him. I was like, I heard Banshees, and I see them there on the left. They're just
Mm-hmm.
kind of patrolling. I'm not really sure if they're.
Yeah, originally it was like, poke up a little bit, not really able to find any angles to actually do like the normal, oh, I'm gonna go and kill some drones. So it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
been, okay, I'm gonna kind of zone out and keep an eye and make sure you're not attacking me. And like, you know, now we're starting to see mutas start to get produced though. So it's gonna be the first real like test for both players, right? Olivier is pushing up as the same time that Raynor pushes over with his like,
Oh,
here's a swarm of lings,
yeah,
here's
yeah.
a bunch of mutas. How are you going to defend? And like Olivier is like,
Take a moment here.
economy gets like crushed there.
This is kind of devastating. This like just run by with mutas right in here. This feels painful.
This
And
is, and that's that like panic mode too. If you have committed like pretty much your whole army is committed to the right side of the map over where Rainer's base is, and you go, I thought I had decent Sim City in here. I thought I was feeling
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good, but like I think it's like that whole thing that we've noticed even against Olivier versus Maro is like he doesn't really care what you're doing. He's not spending the time to like adapt his play as much to what he's scouting. He's just like, I'm gonna just do my thing, and I'm gonna play defensively. I'm gonna and then when I'm feeling ready, I'm just gonna like go,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
gonna attack and make something happen with what I got. And that is kind of the little bit of a weakness if you look at like the information that he has at this point in time. He goes, all right, he's scanning now to see the bases and stuff and know that they're there, but like he saw a spawning pool. That's all the tech that he's seen. Like he didn't know gas counts. He didn't know about the mutas. Like it's definitely a kind of shock when it's like, all right, here's lings on you, here's mutas on you.
Yeah,
Like you can get that like
he's flying kind of
assumption, I
blind.
guess,
Yeah,
but
he's flying
yeah,
kind of
it's
blind
like,
here,
yes, yeah.
which is not ideal, obviously, for this kind of situation to be flying so blind. All right, but let's see where we go from here. Because the mutas now have free reign. They're going straight to the main, and this is so
And
painful.
look at this. Yeah, it's like turrets aren't done. Like
Yeah,
you're just kind of in that like scramble mode of like, okay, hopefully I can get some of these up.
this feels very painful.
It feels painful, but like if you look on the other side, it goes, okay, well, yes, your mutas are dealing damage, but what do you really have to
But what these
defend? And
banes,
it's
these
like, jeez,
actually, how did
like that was.
Oof. Let's let's see how that goes. I think we went by too quickly for me to catch all of that. We need to actually go back a bit. Do not leave. Let's go back a little bit. Let's because okay. Because quick back to your analysis, you saw it, you were right. You know, where Raynor comes in, flies his mutas in. One thing to note, he cues his mutas to go not only from this third, but straight to the main. I guess really it comes down to Oliviera could have gone back or send some back, like maybe some Marines more back. Actually, did he send Marines back? How
Actually,
do you?
interesting thing, like the pathway that Raynor takes and like goes up there, like you see just like this creep road that he follows and goes, okay, his whole goal is to go for this third base here. He knows the third base is there. He's like, okay, I have the clear path. My creep has been cleared out on the right, but he didn't have information of this attack coming his way, or
Oh, because there was no creep.
there was no it already got
No.
cleaned up earlier. So now it's like, sending the lings in there, great, you get a lot of damage done, but maybe having a couple extra lings back at home, maybe saving those mutas to defend against this while your lings counterattack, because yes, there's a lot of Marines here, but
Yeah.
there's what, one tank, that's it. And if he's pushing his way forward, you can easily fly. Oh, two tanks, right? You can easily fly in and pick apart. Like the other tank that's sitting up there by the minerals, that's completely vulnerable. Easily, mutas can take that apart. But because you didn't
wait,
have
where's
that
that? Wait,
information.
where was the other tank? Sorry, where was
All right,
that?
so over at that like fourth base pocket over there, like tucked right by the mineral, so it's safe against lings. Like in
I
the
see it.
right hand corner there. Yeah. Like it's tucked in there, nice and safe against lings, but like there's nothing defending it. So like if he scouted this, if he sent a ling over to the right to just kind of gauge and see that army, because he knew there was Hellions out, but like
Yeah.
seeing this is completely different. And I think Rayner would have reacted differently if he had noticed it, but he was like, mutas are out, I'm going. Like, the timing for the mutas is perfect though, because Olivier is not ready. He doesn't have missile turrets, he's not prepared against it. But it leaves him vulnerable for when he tries to use the banelings and all the tanks are still alive, essentially.
I'm just because like I think the lack of information was definitely wholly the one of the parts where Raider got caught off guard here, because I didn't even notice that like, there's creep. My initial thought was that there was no creep here at all, but you're saying it got cleared up earlier, and then
Yes.
yeah, that got
I mean,
cleared up.
it didn't get too far forward, because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Olivier had control of that watchtower, and it never got past that point. He came forward a little bit ago, scanned and cleaned up the couple creep tumors that were at basically the positioning that all these Marines are now. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but if that creep had still been there, he would have known. Or if he sent a ling or two out that way to check, he might have known. But like, I don't know. It's that, again, we're seeing both players that are like, nope, this is the time. I need to attack. It's a great timing. This, like, there's a slight vulnerability here. I can capitalize on this great timing, and both players have the same mindset. But when both players do, whose army stronger is going to get the most damage done.
And here though, if we're looking at raw strength, like unit strength, here, 6 mutas. Was it 4? No. 5 mutas up in the main. Probably another one coming. 18 banelings. This feels. And hey, Nate Moore. I didn't even get just to say hi. I just saw you now. Welcome. We're just doing some analysis. 18 banelings feels frightening to me. Like it feels
yes,
terrifying to me.
But again, it's like banelings are not good enough by themselves.
No.
So it's not. Like it's scary. But if you go, okay, he's got like 60 lings, but most of them are on the other side of the map, so he can't even really engage with the banelings that he has at this point, because it's like, oh, I don't have the ability to wrap around. I don't have a ability to like pounce and sandwich you in there and then let the banelings go and do the damage that they want them to. So it's like, I have to, Rayner's in that position of like, oh, I have to delay a little bit and let my banelings reproduce more lings while also trying to get damage done. So he's got to do that split attention thing here. Well, Olivier has to do the same, right? Oh, I need to panic build missile turrets. I need to like prepare for the mutas, because I have no way to really deal with that. But he's also like, I have to do a lot of damage, because I am going to take a lot of damage right now.
Yeah. So he's kind of like, I got to do a lot of damage. Because if not, I'm going to get like hit. So, all right. So let's see what happens, because I kind of want to. He's got these banelings in, got the queens.
Yeah, abandoned ships. There's no way I'm defending this base. Gets out of there. But look, the tanks now start to kind of reposition. The tanks that were vulnerable, that could have been picked apart by mutas, are now protected by all the Marines.
Yeah. What's going on up here with these lings? Were these lings originally coming back? Was he? He was. He was bringing these lings back. These lings are coming back.
And this was that point where he realizes, oh, this is worse than I thought at first, right?
Yeah,
and goes,
yeah.
I need every unit that I have. But it's like, 22 SCVs died right there, so that was around 60 SCVs. I mean, Rayner's at 75. He lost 4 drones up to this.
Yeah.
He got to drone very heavily, because there wasn't that like, harassments and stuff like that, which caught him in this weird position of going, okay, let's see what we can do. I'll attack your economy. And then it's like, wow, that is a scary army that I'm facing. Just like 3 tanks, 7 Hellbats in there.
And I think it's Marines. Right, because there was not enough lings here, right? That was like the problem. There's not enough lings, and now he's gonna have to, I guess his initial reaction is like, I need to wrap around. I need to hit both sides with lings and the banelings to make this effective. And then, because he's 37 banelings. 37 banelings. And they're just getting like roasted from these Hellbats. He tries to get some in. They still make it. Oh my gosh. They
Oh,
just like,
oh,
I wonder if he held these Marines back purposely because he thought this might happen. Because the Marines aren't obviously in the front. You know, this is like obviously why Olivier is where he's at, because there's a sense where you have these tanks almost as a bait, and it's
mm-hmm.
staggered, and then all these Marines are up back. And I think I guess it is that he was anticipating, or did the Lynx come in? Did I miss that? Was I not paying attention? I wasn't paying attention. These Lynx did come in, and he did kind of hold it in the back for when the Lynx came.
Yeah, it's like he kind of like had that anticipation. Okay, you're not going to attack me from one angle,
Yeah.
right? What Zerg player is going to do that? So like not overcommitting, because there's been plenty of Terran players that have been in this position, which will grab their Marines and they'll send them forward to start attacking the hatchery. Go, oh, I need to get more damage. If I just like start single targeting that or start killing some of the queens, that this defense up here is weaker, but it leaves your tank line vulnerable. But he's like, no, I'll take my time. I know I'm in a good position here because clearly you're kind of scrambling to defend this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because
I like it. I like it.
I think like I feel like I am trying to play checkers, and like Olivier is playing 3D chess.
Yes, yes.
So I'm like, wow, was he thinking? Like obviously these is why they're pros or whatever, and we're just these lowly plebs trying to understand what they're doing. But and yeah, Nate, we are here on YouTube. I am all our content is here on YouTube. Everything's here. My thought was why wasn't he like you said, like no Zerg player is going to attack from one direction only, right? No Zerg player is going to attack from one direction only. But there is, in my mind, as playing, if I was playing in this position, there's this idea of, he's going to pincer me with both the Banelings and the Zerglings,
right?
Top, bottom. How much further do you need to be back to be able to respond? Because he responds to both of them with this same group of Marines. These same group of Marines respond to both threats.
There's a scan that's happening right now that's like right above him.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think that's that key thing of, okay, if he scans and doesn't see Lings, doesn't see stuff like right here or something like that, is that indication for him to go, okay, it's safe. You're not pincering me right now. I move the Marines. I move the Hellbat. Like, is that information he's looking for there to do that?
I think you're right. I think you're right. So he takes this and he scans at the same time to see if more's coming, because he actually he moved up a bit. Moved up a bit. Because I saw him, he moved just a little bit back up to wow, this actually jumped back further than I was expecting. That's fine. Because he goes,
scans like to the left here. And it's like, okay, cool. I see where the queens are. I see
what's going on. Yep.
Like, I know what's over here on the left-hand side. The first here's the Lings that were attacking come over. Scans, no other Lings, no Banelings. I don't have to worry about that.
Boom.
There's the Banelings coming in. He's already splitting and getting ready. Like, he had a Hellbat up there close. The tanks were up there close, like to absorb the Banelings. Like, Olivier doesn't need the scouting information early. He utilizes his scouting information like when it comes to fighting.
Yeah.
Like, I need to use these scans here to get 100% wide range around me. Am I safe? This clear picture where it's like, I don't care what you're doing up until this point. That was very, very well played from even from both players. Like, Raynor lost that game, but like his idea of going, I'm going mutas, I'm attacking with Lings, like these attacks that are very effective. He got a lot. 22 SCVs died with that first attack. So like he knew what he was doing. That the missile turrets weren't there, but yeah.
I wanted to like, for me, what I kind of put in here in my notes was lack of creep. info was probably critical in this. Like the lack of creep info, pretty much like I feel if Rainer knew from if he got even an inkling of it earlier with the creep info, he would have got those links
Right.
back sooner.
Right.
And that lack
Send
of
less
links,
lings to
yeah,
attack
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something, something like that. But yeah, it's like losing that creep over there, and he had that huge creep highway on the left. Like he didn't send any lings. He didn't
Yeah.
no overseer sent over to the right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nothing.
Lack of like definitely kind of sealed it there. And yeah, I don't like. That was really good. I like that one. Really quick and easy. All right, so we got our last game for the night, and you know what, Nate Moore, glad you were able to find us. This is I'm glad you make sure you put a little subscribe here on YouTube. And what we got next is we're gonna do one last replay, and this is a community replay, and this is something that I thought would be kind of fun to do. Like I said, Naman and I have been doing a lot of like replay analyzing. Neither of us are pros, preface it, but we do kind of like, we like to see what we can find out. And so it's collaborative. You guys here, you in chat can help too. We're taking everybody's advice. This is not like not a top down.
You guys might see something that we don't see.
Absolutely.
Or notice something. So feel free, chime in,
Chime
leave
in,
comment
absolutely.
if you're watching this from the VODs and not live, let us know.
The idea
we're see a lot,
learning.
But not everything.
Yeah. We're all learning here together. That's like the core of this is learning together. If you're one of the Crown Club and you're part of our Patreon, patreon.com/ESChamp, you can come here and join us in Discord and actually just chat with us and like give us your analysis. This is not a regular. This is like not a regular show. This is not where it's just two hosts chatting by ourselves.
Right.
If this is like, come in here, let's analyze replays together. This is kind of like a book club, almost like a book club but for replays. You can watch the replay it's like a book club for replays. So, and also you can give it ideas for replays for next month's, right? We'll put it together. We'll kind of be like, all right, this is next month's replay. You can watch it with your notes, bring your notes to the next session, and we can just talk it out. IEM Catavise has a ton of replays. So if there are any games that you're like, you know what, let's all break it down together. And there's like a couple 2 games you want us to like chat about next month. Let's hear it in the comments.
Let us know.
Let's do it. Or man, if you have one, you're like, you know what, let's do it. It's a collaborative effort. We're gonna make it happen.
I'm sure we can branch out. It's nice that we get to see different games, right? Where we started out with the TVT, we got to see a TVZ, and what about our third game here? What do we got?
ZVZ, my saddest matchup to enjoy, but I do not mind. I love to help in any matchup as I can.
Exactly.
I have the least amount of knowledge about Zerg, but I thought that other people can help. Like just being a part of watching some ZVZ, I can learn something too. So I'm going to do my best to hopefully lean on you guys there. Those of you who are Zergs in the chat. Man, you have more Zerg experience than me, so I feel like you'll at least be able to lead the charge. So we'll get there together.
It's also exactly. This also means that everybody watching, look for your Protoss games for us to talk about next time.
Well, I didn't want to see. Here's the thing about ESChamp's channel. We, I think, skew too much to the Protoss because of my Protoss bias. So, like, as if anybody who's seen our build guides, they're mostly Protoss with a few Terran and no Zerg. And I've been chastised by it, but it's we just haven't had anybody who's like gonna break down Zerg replays for build orders, and that's just why there's no Zergs. So, we had some Terrans, and Kerwin was, took a stab at it, and then we have Holy Hit, who's like the Protoss master, 6K MMR, so he loves to break down and analyze Protoss, and so he's the one who's kind of doing the build order guides right now, and so he's only Protoss. That's why we don't really have build orders for the other 2 races. So as if you guys are supporting and love what us do, and you find us, support us on whatever which way you can, not obviously obligated, but the more we're able to expand, hopefully we can get more people who want to do Zerg and Terran stuff. So that will be, well, Naman, we have you're working here on meta notes, so We got some of that analysis on that side.
Yeah, a little bit of breakdowns
A
here
little
and
bit of
there.
breakdown here and there. And that's kind of what we're doing. That's kind of what we're aiming to do here on this channel, is to really dive deep, further past the VODs, farther past the tournaments, and go further on what we can learn. So let's speaking of going further, Dusk versus, so actually he wrote a little note. Let's see if I can read it. Yeah, let's see what he said. Give me a sec. Let me pull up his little note of his. So he said, so my opponent opened up with a build I've not seen before. 1 base fast Bane nest. I went for a standard 16 hatch, 18 gas, 17 pool, and I noticed the early lings. Didn't see the Banes until they were in my base, and I killed a lot of workers. I mostly panicked from here, forgot my queens, yada yada, and lost the game. From the moment the first attack ended, what could I have done to come back in the game? I was only 4 workers down at that point. I built but 1 hatch up, so I assume a wall off, drawn up, and then a roach timing. What could have worked?
Ah, okay. So I think that's that like initial like panic too, of like you see something you haven't seen before, and like, oh, okay, how do I respond to this? And you know, you might mess up where it's like, oh, I've seen these builds, I know how to respond. If I do the X, Y, and Z, I'll be in a better position. So, you know, there is definitely something to that when you see a build for the first time. But I don't know. Let's jump in and see.
Let's jump right in. And so
see what it's
actually,
like.
Nate Moore just asked a question. How do you feel like your passion should be more part of the scene? Trust me, my passion's pretty much embedded into the scene. Practically owns my passion. You know, what are the ways y'all get support? So two cool ways, or 2 main ways here on YouTube. There's like, you can do super chat, you can do memberships here on YouTube, which is kind of like Twitch subscription. Same thing, same deal. We also have Patreon. So Patreon's another way. A lot of the Patreon, though, has been, I've re-geared a lot of the benefits of the Patreon to focus on, like, you know, kind of, we're focused on coaching and trying to, you know, Holy Hit does some like extra coaching stuff. So if you actually want to get better, and that's something you want to go in that direction, I'm actually doing, I'm starting up a weekly skill builders, you know, where we get to practice some of like the weird, not weird, like the fundamentals. So next week, I am leading a, if you've ever watched Day 9's mental checklist, we're doing some drills around mental checklist practice. That's next week. So that's a Patreon perk where I run some small little, you know, mini games. And then also Holy Hit does some, you know, some lessons on other coaching related stuff. So yeah, if that's your way you want to go, that's another way you support and get that cool perk.
And another, jumping off of what you were saying, is another great way to show support too is to tell your friends, spread the word,
oh my
let
God.
people know, share videos that we've got, you know, that's a great way to do it.
That is actually the easiest and cheapest way to show support. We got some breakdowns, we got some like history stuff, we've got some all sorts of stuff. Even easier, just subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, just subscribe. You know, we got some videos coming down. I'm sure you'll love it because I love it. I'm super excited to get those videos out. Okay, so we're watching Dusk. This guy, our man here, Dusk. He said specifically we should be keeping an eye out for after the first attack. Let's actually keep an eye on my man here, Dusk. What we got going on.
Whoa. Okay. Sorry, I was watching already, like, you know, just production tabs and stuff like that, and Dusk is like, okay, I'm doing normal, but it's like, no, I'm doing an 11 pool. Like, I'm saving up and immediately throwing down a pool. And it's like, oh, okay, you're gonna cheese. Okay, you gotcha.
Well,
No
I
problem.
believe our man Dusk is in. This is Diamond. I want to say my man is Diamond. I feel like my man is at Diamond level. Let me quickly see if I can pull up my notes. My man is a diamond in the rough. A diamond in the rough. He's plat. He's plat. My man is plat.
All right. Oh, okay. So you're right on that. Like, plat is that sweet spot where it's like you have good knowledge, but there's like definitely areas where you can improve and like nuances and
Yeah.
replay. Watching your replays is a great way to find those improvements. But yeah, boom, 6 Zerglings already coming out. Ooh.
My man. My man here.
Yeah, the first Overlord for Dusk isn't even over there to get it, but it's enough that he can start seeing Lings coming his way. And like you look and it's like you see Lings coming your way and your spawning pool's not done yet, and it's like your heart is sinking here. Because like the Overlord placement for Dusk is great on the path that he's on, where he can see the Lings coming out. Like even
Yeah.
boom, he sees the Banelings coming out.
That's good news.
So
That's good news.
it's like he knows what to expect. But it's definitely the pan. Okay, Spinecrawler gets created.
So hold on, my man actually he has clear vision of the Banelings. Clear vision of the Banelings happening. Morphin. What's his response here? What are we looking at in terms of responses?
I mean, he already talked about it in his
spine's coming.
Right. He already talked about it in like the notes that he sent over of like, oh, my queens are late kind of thing, which queens are going to make a huge difference against Banelings too, because they are slow. Yes, they'll move faster on the creep, but if you can get them out, they'll have that range that they can just start DPSing them down. Another thing is pulling the drones off of gas too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I know it's like, but if I can get up to 100, I can get to like metabolic boost and be in a position. But like, really, it's like your minerals are going to be very important here, because you're going to want to try to get spines up, and you know you're investing in spines, queens, and lings, right? You're in that panic. I need to defend right now. You're already ahead in workers. You have to think about it this way, because of the fact that your opponent went for this rush. They've committed all their drones into lings, into banelings here, so you know that you're ahead in drones. So you committing your drones to minerals is going to be very important here.
One thing to notice though is that the fact that there is no expansion in the natural, that should have been an indication though. Isn't that like
right? It should be, but like the first, because he did the fastest rush possible. Like this is what this is, where it's like I did not build my like first Overlord. I didn't build like a wave of drones. I saved up 200, dropped down a spawning pool is the first thing that I did. and there's no way to know this if you're playing on the ladder, if you are just playing normal, because your Overlord doesn't get over here until he sees the first lings.
Yeah.
And so like if you're just doing your normal build, it's you can't like come into it already anticipating and planning ahead. These little nuances that you can do for next time, like pulling drones off of gas, immediately starting queens as soon as your spawning pool is done, like that should be your first priority. Is go boom boom, double queens coming out kind of thing, because you have both hatcheries done. Like he's got the resources too, where he can go boom 300 minerals into that, and if his drones are off gas, that's extra minerals he's getting right here. First lings coming out, banelings are coming in. He's got his own lings coming, and this is that new nuanced dance thing that makes a huge difference in that micro skills. This is the scary part. Like this dance in ZVZ is the hardest part of ZVZ. I call it a dance because it's that like lings, banelings, this back and forth thing, which a lot of Zerg players know and they've practiced and like, but it's later. You have a better economy, you've got metabolic boost, and you can do that. The banelings though.
These banelings, this felt okay. So let's maybe go back a little bit, because I feel like this is maybe the crucial response. I think you're really covered already, where the fact that the queen may have been the fact, he's aware of it though. He knows that part.
He's aware, and he called it out then, and that's great. Like, I was in a panic. Like I saw lings coming at my base when there shouldn't be lings coming at my base. I saw banelings morphing, and I went into that. Oh, I know I need a spine crawler, which is great. Like the spine crawler is going to help. It's going to be forever before it gets there, though. It's going to take a long time. Like,
and we won't focus up, because he knows all this part. What he's really specifically asking is like, how could he have come back from this game? Because I guess at some point after his battle, he's up a hatchery, because this guy's all in. He is all in at this point, and I'm guessing since he's gonna survive. We're gonna see this. Our man here he's going to survive. Okay, so the spine is up, which means okay, you're gonna survive because now the spine is up.
You're right, and he's still in that. I'm worried. Here's a bunch of lings coming out to make sure I'm defended.
What's your thought on this spine's position? Is this like the best position for a spine? I feel like this spine could have been.
It's not, and now he's going to reposition it.
Yeah,
but that again, that's that panic spine, right?
Yeah, okay.
I need a spine now. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
What's the position? It like kind of protected some of the minerals there, and you can pull drones to the left hand side and be okay. So like I'm not that upset by that positioning of that spine.
Yeah,
like
it worked out. It was a panic spine. Like we'll give this man a break. Like clearly it was a panic spine. Not a big deal. Mm-hmm. He's alive. This is not the core. I mean, like our he's a second spine. Does that kind of be a little bit?
It is, and so that's that overcommitment and worry here, right? And part of that is going, okay, I don't have metabolic boost yet. Right? I don't have Zergling speed, which would help in that dance that you see in ZVZ of Baneling, where you're going to send like 2 lings to fight a Baneling at a time. And, if they detonate, I lose 2 lings, right? But he's getting queens up now. So like he's getting back into it. Like now we start metabolic boost.
He's
like he's sending his lings across to see what he can make happen, which is good, right? You want to put the pressure on. That was actually a really good trade. One ling for one Baneling. Like that's perfect.
I love it.
But this is that scary part. You have metabolic boost. I can't
dance you. I can't dance with you. So now he's in trouble. No metabolic boost, but he is getting it now. He is getting metabolic boost a little bit. So immediately my mind is that because of lack of metabolic, he can't engage in the way that he wants to engage. Mm-hmm. Ooh, geez. Okay. So now his mining is interrupted. Metabolic boost, I think, has been a big factor in this situation for him.
Oh, so this is that scary part too, where he tries to reposition the spine into a more defensive position. Has to use his drones, like loses the queen, which we keep coming back to the queen, and I hate to keep doing it, but the queen pulls so many duties for Zerg, especially early on, because it's defense, it's more larva production. Like if you had your 2 queens out, like you can block the ramp, right?
Yeah.
You sit there, put on hold position. Those lings can't get up into the ramp, and that spine crawler that was in that other position near the ramp, like you're safer there. But all right, big wave of lings, speed lings here.
I think if he just gone the queen inside the spine, he might have been in 2 queens or something inside the spine. He might have been in a better position.
Instead of that second spine crawler. I agree.
I feel like the 2 queens would have been the better pick. The better pick instead of the second spine would have been healthier. I don't know, because now what are we looking at in terms of economy?
It's rough, right? 17 workers to 30, and you saw just that wave of lings that came in. Like a lot of them died to the Banelings. You saw 3 queens. Like you got that full scouting information. Like it's
my man here Red. What is it? Pax Nelatom. My man got the drones up quick. My man's economy is healthy, like and thriving. Jesus.
Yeah.
My man Dusk. What went wrong?
It put Dusk in that that panic mode, right? It's like Dusk was forced to make lings all in response to these attacks, and then it was like, okay, I've defended the attack, but I'm still worried, so I'm going to make another round of lings. And at that point, we see drones on the other side for his opponent.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I've done damage, I've scared you, I'm droning up. And Dusk is like, no, I got some lings. And then you are forced in that position of, okay, now that I made lings, I have to do something with them.
Yeah,
right. I can't. Like it's all this larva is now committed to this, so I'll go over to the other side and I'll try to get something done, or I'll try to scout and see, and nothing, like the pushbacks couldn't really happen. Where I think it's, if you're still scared, keep him back at home, send 1 or 2 out just to scout and see, okay, he's got 3 queens now, he's got this now, and don't overcommit your your wave of lings that you're forced into making if you can help it,
You know,
because you're
I've
still
seen a
behind you.
Paxton too.
So
He's got 3 queens too, really good. You know, I think it does. There's a bit of panic. You're right. Like Dusk comes running in and he's like, I got to do something now. I got to try to make something happen because I've taken too much damage and I need to do something. And like these 3 queens are just like, please go home or else. And yeah, because he gets in, but meh. So Red Paxton, he controlled this game pretty much too.
he did, and it's like, you know, all the credit to Dust for not GGing out and giving up after you go, I got like 12 pulled essentially into a Baneling rush that destroyed my economy, destroyed all my lings, and I you know, tried to make something happen, tried to keep going back into it. Here it's like, you know, you're again, I'm gonna keep harping on it. Queens.
Why is this queen not coming down? Okay, so you know, I think we could have maybe had like, I wonder if we could have just summed up a lot of it was the queens, and then even I feel like his economy kind of
just he canceled his Baneling nest.
Wait, what? Why?
It was so close to being, and I think he feels like, okay, so there's that period in ZVZ where you're in this Baneling, you know, knife fight. Right, you're fighting on a knife's edge because you slip up and you lose all your lings,
right?
Or you know, right? It's so, and then you could just tumble down and die. But that stage doesn't last very long in ZVZ now. Like, you know, you get your economy up really strong and you can transition quickly into roaches, or you can tech up and go into mutas and ling and mutas, and like you can switch it up quicker. It doesn't always stay on this phase for very long. Sometimes, you know, every game is different, and sometimes you get stuck in that phase for longer because everyone's so quick and doing damage, and it's back and forth, and nobody can find that little edge because, oh, if you commit too much resources into teching, you might just die. But there's, in this space, you know, I think Dust still should have committed to the Baneling nest. Yes, you're worried about roaches coming, but because lings keep coming in and dealing damage, 1 or 2 Banelings there shuts this next push down.
Do we want? Is that kind of like a level of panic? Like it's all panic in this point, right? Where it's panic.
I think the whole game is, because it's like, you know, Dust, you know, went to a game plan, had his game plan, and that got thrown off at the very beginning, and it's, you know, the adrenaline has spiked up, and you're playing, and you're, you know, doing stuff that you wouldn't normally do, that you might be like, oh no, I need this instead. Oh wait, no, I need to do this, and shift and transition and try these different things. So it's like, you know, I get it. Like when you're playing, it's stressful. Like,
it's so freaking stressful. And I'm wondering, like, to me, in my mind, like, because we will keep in mind that our man's MMR is like he's only like 28,000, 2,800. And so there's some fundamentals we're gonna have to still work on. Baby, I get it too. I am not, you know, I'm not Maru level, so we all got these fundamentals we got to work on. So if I was to even say some of the smaller stuff is the macro, and then even the queens, these are like the core key easy things, these easy fixes because another thing he could have done, but he's not at that level. Even I'm not at that level, so I can't criticize. Like even if when he got the attack, if his micro is higher, you obviously split properly and fight better and stuff like that. But like that's hard and that's not really attainable.
That's that's why it's like I'm not even gonna worry about that. We're gonna highlight little nuances and stuff like that for it. Like it's and I'm sure, you know, Dusk already recognized a lot of the stuff that we are highlighting, but it's important for our viewers that are watching as well, just because if you're playing, you can run into this same kind of build where someone goes, I'm all inning you, and you're panicking. But
baby, like, if you're on the ladder, you will run into this build. Will run into this. This build was come for you. Like it was so cheesy.
Like, 100%. Like
so cheesy.
You got to practice your own cheese. You gotta prepare to defend against cheese. But like that, the very first push, I keep like drones off of gas. Like if there's one
Let's
big
go back to that
takeaway,
push. Let's go back to that.
Besides the, hey, you need queens. Like you have the minerals, double queen up immediately. Like it's scary, but like pull the drones off gas too. Like,
let's go back to that because I think that is like if we're talking about some very because I want to focus on and you said it's best like some really obtainable for like a
Yes.
28 like for a 3K MMR person responses to where are we? Is this first battle? Where are we? Yeah, okay, let's go a little bit back. Okay. So just roughly
yeah, so
around
this
here.
is perfect because this
Yeah.
is like you've already seen the Lings come out. You saw the first set of 2, there's the next set of 2, and then now you know it's also Banelings, right? Your
Yeah.
overlords are in so like great on Dusk from his overlord positioning to know exactly what this is. Like if you have your overlords positioned the wrong way, you miss this entirely. But yeah, no, that's scary. Like I think even like don't send these drones down. Like I know you're like I have the expansion, I need to utilize it, I need to get ready for it and stuff. Like it just like
Everything
know,
come back to
everything come back up. Like you're in that panic worry mode. Oh, this is the scary part. And we've talked about the micro and splitting drones and doing this and that. Like
that's too hard for you.
That's too hard. Just worry about those.
The queen alone. A
fundamentals.
queen alone obviously would have made the. I think if we were to sum this up to the number one thing that would have easiest thing that would have made the biggest difference, it's the queen, in my opinion.
Right, because then you could sit there and you can like grab all your drones while you're kiting around, and you can right click on the minerals at your natural, and around that time as you're going that way, your queen should be popping up, and you can start to do some running around, and Lings are popping, spine crawlers repositioning. That panic second spine crawler was the other thing we talked about.
Yep. Well, I think those are both linked because the second the panic one could have been a queen. It could have been like we could have been a queen.
Yeah, because even here it's like, okay, you took a lot of damage. You're down to 11 workers. All things considered, you're actually in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, right.
Because the amount of drones that they have is very low. They're dropping that spawning pool down immediately.
Yeah.
They don't have any drones behind their push because they had to commit so much to it. So you came out in a good spot and you were just in that adrenaline panic mode still of I need another spine. I need this. Queens are coming out great. Metabolic boost is starting. You're behind a metabolic boost, but if the queens are here from both hatcheries, you can block the ramp. Put both on hold position. No more Lings get into your base. And then you really kick in and take advantage of your double hatch, double production that you've got, and like. I think that's the things there that you can easily fix now. And again, it'll take the practice of facing this over and over again
for sure.
to be able to execute the stuff that we're talking about in the thick of battle, in the stress of Lings running through your base, Banelings blowing up your drones and everything. So
yes, queen. I've been dying to use that. Make us an emo. Yes, queen. That's what we need more. Say yes to the queens. All right. Yeah. So the run through came in. This queen could have maybe joined that fight, and then she was a little on vacation. This is where it kind of goes a little wrong because.
And like that could easily have
happen to anybody.
Happen to anybody. Also, like if your queens aren't hotkeyed too, it's like Lings come in. Your initial thought is I need to protect my drones, but if you have your queens hotkeyed too, you can like a move, then grab your drones, right? And again, the more you play, your APM is going to get better, or your speed might go better, and you get used to those movements. Like that's a scary thing, right? Your whole focus is I need to protect my economy, so you're moving the drones around. Makes sense. Queens sometimes on vacation, but this like Ling wave, send Lings like. Keep your Lings back on defense for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that would also be because he just got metabolic boost and he's feeling himself and he's like, I'm now.
I cleaned him up. You keep attacking me. Well, I'm gonna attack you.
Yeah, he got metabolic boost and he's feeling himself right now and he's like, all right, I'm gonna get my turn. And you know what? I understand that sentiment because I make this mistake too. I'm prone to this mistake where I'm like, okay, I cleaned you up. I just popped my turn. And but the problem is we got some queens waiting for you. So the queens really make the difference.
And the 2 Banelings on defense. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the normal like knife fight we talk about. There's gonna be 1 or 2 back on defense for those run bys. that like you got behind because you know, you're in that drone slash ling production
And
now.
my man had vision too. He knew that was there.
He knew
So,
the queens were there, and then
oof,
that one hurt.
Jesus. Ugh.
I don't think he got to see the banelings though. They were just
No, they
far
were
enough
hidden.
away, so it just like comes in and it's like, oh, that big ling production I made gone.
So yeah, it was. You're right. He didn't see it. He only had the vision of the queen, so he thought he was gonna do a run by, and then these banelings just hip checked him against the board, and then that was it. So I think if we're talking about the thing that could have helped him survive, is as you pointed it out, is that he just should have held back those the zerglings. And then
Right, especially he's going to be getting the baneling nest on the way. You know, okay, if I keep these lings back, I'll be even better positioned if there's a follow-up attack, and then I can really drone up for a while. Like I'll make like, you know, 4 banelings in that position, have like 2 or 3 lings left to kind of send out and do some scouting, check to see, okay, is he being greedy now? Is he trying to get a quick third? Then I know, oh, I go into heavy ling production and I capitalize on it.
And even to make it even easier, the one thing that I think would have made a big difference instead of attacking would have been just macroing. Like I think not even attacking and just macroing defensive, turn it into a macro game. I think just turn it into a macro game. I would have been better. You know, I think at this point you thought you might have been an advantage because you maybe came to the same conclusion as everyone else would have. It's just like, oh, I should be ahead. But yeah, I think a macro game would have been healthier.
And I think it's also like Dust probably feels better in the macro games versus another Zerg player, or at least better than like the cheese battle, or you know, or the Ling Baneling battles that you sometimes find yourself in.
Yeah,
like right now he's like, all right, 7 roaches. You know, let's go. I'll be in a good spot, dangerous spot. You know, he's down a hatch, like he's trying to make something happen with it.
I don't know. This seems like I'm surprised. Like most people GG by this point.
Yes,
most people just GG out. But you know, I see where he's like, you know,
I think it's also important too to like if you only are playing a couple games a day or something, and you're getting the practice in, get the reps in, practice with units. Like this pushing out with the roaches, like push back, cool, and then stay. Like you gotta either commit and go for the all in now, or not. Like losing the second hatchery, we've lost the chance for sticking it out for the macro.
yeah, that option is gone from you. You have to, but you know what? You're right. I think in the sake of practice, just, you know, if you're gonna play it out for practice, then I do this too, where I'll just like, okay, well, I'm here anyways.
Yeah, right?
I might as well just keep getting this game going in. So if you're gonna play for practice, then you know,
do it, or like GG out, go next.
Oh yeah, true.
Take those breaths like we talked about earlier in the night, right? Do the Oliviera play. Go, wow, I got cheesed out. That was rough. Not feeling it. Go to my happy place for a minute. Take a rest. Get a drink of water. And then queue up again.
Do you ever do any? Do you do anything to like slow down when you play? Even if you're not playing StarCraft, playing any games, like what's your like go to? I'm gonna like slow down my heart rate.
I have a hard time in the thick of things. Like in this game, my adrenaline would have been through the roof, and I would have a hard time until the game is done before I'm able to really take a breath and okay, we got through it. Like if it's going, I'm just like in it.
No, I mean like it's hard in game, but like in between games, do you do anything particularly where you're like, oh, I'm going to like, you know,
I mean, I think one of the things is like I like to do is like, because I'm big on drinking water, so I'm like, I need to go refill my water, right? I'll go, you know, and at least that's like I walk down a set of stairs and being up and moving and stuff like that. But I'm a big component of the deep breath, and I know it's like, you know, it's kind of cheesy for a lot of people to be like, what, breathing doesn't make all it. If you actually take the time to focus and like take deep breaths, you'll be shocked at how much it makes a difference.
It's 100% make a difference. 100%. Not even just StarCraft, in things in general,
in
life, in life in general, like taking a pause and deep breaths and stuff. Man, I tell you, it makes a huge difference. 100% makes a huge difference. Like, I don't know. If you're going to go on stage, you go deliver a speech or do a presentation, take some deep breaths. If you're playing StarCraft, take some deep breaths. Like, that is number one easy thing to do. Like, before I even like start up a stream, right? I was like, Because to
Yes.
me, there's like all this stuff happening. I'm like, oh my God, is this breaking? What's happening? What's working? What's not working? Oh my God. And then, I just breathe.
Ah,
All right.
perfect
Yeah.
device.
Yeah. I
Um,
find it works.
all right, so there you go.
So
So
that's it.
that'll help at least if you're feeling stressed, especially after a stressful game like that. Hopefully, the stuff that we provided in that dusk at least gives some insight. I know you noticed some stuff and you talked about stuff like. Hopefully, some of it will sink in that when you're in those stressful situations next time, you'll
Mm-hmm.
remember some of this stuff. Oh, okay. Do I have people on gas? I don't need people on gas. Ooh, I need to immediately start up queens if I don't have queens going. Like, these little nuances.
Yes,
Don't
Queens.
worry too much about yes, remember that. Don't worry too much about the micro aspect. That'll come, you'll get there. But like
Yeah.
these slight little tweaks, don't need the second spine crawlers. This is for everybody, not just us, because you're gonna
Everybody.
face it if you're a Zerg player.
Everybody. Let me. That's like, just remember. Yes, Queens.
Yes.
Yes, Queens. That's the takeaway from this stream. Yes, Queens. Everybody, say it with me. So that's it. So if you have suggestions, this is my first time doing this. Is our first time putting this together, and I'm kind of this was actually a lot more informative than I had in my mind. I'm like, oh, we're just gonna get together and do some replay chat,
Hang
but
out,
like,
chat. Yep.
yeah, but like, yeah, man, you were such a good guy to talk to. I love talking to you. You're so.
I like talking StarCraft. It's like, oh, I could nerd out about StarCraft. Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So feedback is welcome to everybody. Things that you would think of. I'm gonna have a different layout. I think we somehow incorporate the magical notepad into it better, because I think this notepad actually was very useful for me. And I'll probably maybe post it somewhere. I don't know where. We'll find out.
No. And also, good suggestion too, if you're watching your replays at home and trying to analyze stuff after games, use a notepad, write down the stuff like we did. All right. Where are the queens? Metabolic boost is missing. Or, like these little nuances, like, oh, his lings are attacking me right now.
Yeah.
I don't have queens, or I don't have, this little things. Oh, is my army positioned in the right spot? Did I right click over here and my army split in half like they weren't supposed to? Like, you can make those notes on a notepad so you can go back and think about those when you're playing games.
I do that a lot too. When I think for me, when it comes to improving in StarCraft, that has been my number one thing. Is I use two things. I use SC2 replay stats, and then I will also take a notepad and I'll just like jot down little notes. That's where our notepad idea was like, oh, I kind of like doing this for myself, so maybe that will work for this, where you just do a little bit of jotting down, write down these little tidbits and then review it later. I don't normally review it right after. I'll maybe come back like a day,
right,
and then come back and because I think it can get exhausting to analyze yourself. That's why we're kind of doing this together.
It's hard,
like analyzing your own replays can get, I think, mentally taxing. To do like a marathon of replays and bad ladder games. Definitely don't do it right after you've lost. I think maybe take like. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Do that after you lost, but then maybe take a time later after you've taken a chance to decompress to go
see if you come to the same conclusions.
Yeah,
too. Like if you watch it right after you lose, and then you watch that again like the next day before you start playing, say, oh, I missed this last time I watched it. Maybe you were still in that same mindset, and like adrenaline's high, or you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have lost. I know I made a mistake, and like you're down on yourself about it. But then you watch and go, oh, okay, now taking a different approach, I noticed this that I did wrong where I didn't notice it before, or I noticed he made a mistake here that I could have capitalized on that I missed. And like
I think the number one, and don't do this because I have a bad habit and I actually try very hard to shake it off, is that I will watch the replay high speed and be like, I know what I did wrong.
Yeah, let's go. Get through it. Okay. Yep.
I know I did wrong. And then so I'll like skim through it. I'll be like, all right, it was this, that's the reason, and then I'll leave. But I do think it's advantageous. I do sometimes will take the weekends where I'll go to some of my replays, some of the ones that are really head scratchers, and I'll go through it like we did now, a little bit slower, and I'll take like a notepad. And actually, a lot of the times too, these replays can be like, this kind of thing is much more advantageous to do it with a buddy or a friend who can have a little bit more objectivity.
It's easy to watch replays together, guys. Just join a party, boom, watch them. Hey, let's check out this replay. I'll
Cool.
watch some of yours. You watch some of mine. Let's
Yeah.
break it down.
Absolutely. All right, cool. And yeah, let's we'll call this then the end of the night. This was fun. And yeah, give us your feedback. Cool.
Yeah, let us know. Send
Let
us
us
some
know.
replays.
Send us some
Let's
replays.
analyze some more stuff.
All right, then, man. It was been awesome. Anything you want to shout out before we end our stream?
Just helps spread the word about ESChamp. Share the videos, like, subscribes, all that kind of good stuff. Give us the feedback, leave comments. Let us know, guys, what you want to see when it comes to the replay stuff. Because this is our first one. We're trying to do it like monthly. So if there are specific matches that you notice, let us know. Tell us. We'll kind of get into it.
Perfect. All right, and on that, we'll transition out. Have a good night, everybody. Good luck and have fun. Actually, make sure my mic is it still up? Rude.